Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pro Wrestling World Talks with Dan and Mac.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Pro Wrestling World Talks. I am your host, Daniel Burke, this evening, and I am joined by my co-host, Mac. Welcome to the program again, my friend.
Greetings and salutations.
Greetings and salutations.
And beer, if you're so inclined. I wish I had one, but I don't.
I figured you would be at least partaking in a few beverages this evening, considering the Patriots are playing tonight on Thursday Night Football against the New York Jets.
Suck.
Okay.
No, I'm actually partaking in something else, so don't worry.
Oh, hey, smoke.
Smoke.
You know, the funny part is that Mac and I were just talking before here on the program in our pre-show. We were just saying, I feel like we've already done the show already, but it was in a group chat earlier this afternoon.
Ooh, man.
Good Lord. I'm sorry, buddy, but I got to do this. So I found out today that I am not the biggest AEW hater right now that's not named Jim Cornette, Eric Bischoff, a few others. I'm not even that. My good old buddy Billy, my brother Billy,
Ooh, man.
made the decision to just pretty much light the entire logo on fire. And not just, because I've been critical of AEW's booking. I have been critical of the company itself as a whole, but I have never really been critical of the talent. I've always said AEW has some of the most talented workers in pro wrestling, other than Mercedes Moné and a few others. But I've made it abundantly clear that I have always been for the talent in that company, including guys like Will Ospreay. And the argument was, because I made the comment that Will Ospreay, I feel, is the best pound-for-pound professional wrestler in the world today. And I'm not talking about, and there's a difference, because I look at Cody Rhodes and I look at Roman Reigns and I look at them as superstars. I know people are going to get mad at this because they're going to be like, well, are you calling them? No. I'm not saying that they're superstars.
I don't know. They might be zero.
Exactly, Dave. I am calling them superstars in the sense of that they are television stars, that they know how to tell a good story other than between the ropes, good promo work, good presence, charisma. I feel Will Ospreay has the ability to have a good character developed. I feel like he has everything else possible that you could want in a top star. And in the ring, he is, without question, pound for pound in professional wrestling right now, the very best in the world. I love CM Punk, but CM Punk is pushing 50, in his mid-40s. On the, he's on the back nine. We look at Ospreay and say, yes, as far as prime right now, as far as I'm concerned, just because athletically, Ospreay has been able to do things I have never seen before, ever. And I mean, there have been innovative talents that I've seen. Rob Van Dam, I was the one towing the line in 1999. This guy is the best pound-for-pound professional wrestler in the world. Mind you, Steve Austin sold a shit ton of shirts at that point. But Van Dam, in every performance, raised the bar. When you can not have a bad match and have that ability, you are, in my opinion, on an upper echelon group. Rob Van Dam was there. AJ Styles was there. Shawn Michaels was there. Will Ospreay is there. There are, and I would also put CM Punk in that category as well. I'd put Bryan Danielson in that category as well. It's very hard to be able to go out night in and night out and perform at the absolute highest level with somebody that you might not have any chemistry with, and also a mismatch of styles. I think we have seen that with Cody Rhodes, with Solo Sikoa. I mean, mind you, the cage match was their best match, probably Solo's best match that I had seen in his career. But at the same time, I don't feel like it has had the same crispness, and also, I guess you could say, flair for dramatics and drama. Yeah, the cage match was the best match that they've ever had. It was probably Solo's best match.
Do you think, though, that it's supposed to? Because I feel like, and I hate to say it this way, especially when we're talking about a world champion, but I almost feel like it's filler. I mean, it's just filler at this point for Roman to come back.
It's a very good point, considering the fact that the rumor has it, I don't know, is it supposed to happen the next pay-per-view with Bad Blood, that it's supposed to be Cody and Roman against Solo and probably Jacob Fatu?
Yep. So this was, I almost feel like it was teased. Anyways, just gonna throw that out there. Last week or so, especially how SmackDown began with that cage match. Later in the night, though, Roman came out saying he doesn't need help. Gets attacked. Cody comes out, saves him, and then they sign the contract. So yes, at least if what we saw on television last week is accurate, there is a tag team match at Bad Blood between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes against Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa.
Now, it is a rather, I mean, it's happened before. It's a rarity where two rivals, or the previous champion and the current champion, the one that beat him, team up. I mean, it's happened in the past. I think in 1990, it happened with Warrior and Hogan at certain points, especially the Survivor Series, the Feast, the Ultimate Survivor match at the end. It was Hogan and Warrior who were the last two survivors for that night. I think Rock and Austin had some kind of tag team matches in the past. You know, like it's happened. So it's not a everyday type situation. But I mean, it also
sitting here fucking talking on mute. But yeah, Rock and Sock was one. Austin, Triple H. I think Austin and Rock too. Wasn't it Cena and The Rock at one point too? After that feud,
but that was
Austin
that
Truth?
was before. That was before.
Okay.
That was before the WrestleMania match.
Okay. I mean, listen, either way, man, like it's happened so many times. Is my point.
It has. It has happened on many occasions. Maybe this is Roman's way of kind of giving. You know, it's being able now to put Cody in a light where, because you know the conversations and the criticisms have been there, that Cody really hasn't been featured as a main player, even though he was the one that just. You know, he was the one that took the sword out of the stone and beat Roman. But the problem is now is that I feel like that story hasn't finished, at least from the standpoint of, and there's a touchdown by the Jets, at least from the standpoint of, exactly. I lost my train of thought.
So I can kind of.
I'm not going to be involved in football this year. Meanwhile, it's in the background.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's the Patriots, though. I'll kind of pick up the point, though, that I think with Cody, you're right, but I also think that there's bigger stories to tell, and I think that could be Cody versus Roman 3. That could be The Rock versus Cody. It could be Survivor Series where it's Bloodline against whatever the fuck Roman is able to put together for a team, because I don't think it's going to be all Bloodline. At least not all of them, and it wouldn't be enough to really have 4 or 5 guys without maybe fucking Cody Rhodes. Like, we just don't know. They could take this so many different ways. But you're right to a point that they're not really featuring him as much as they should, especially as a world champion. So it's tough. But like I said, I think there are other stories to tell, and I think waiting for Roman to come back and waiting potentially for The Rock to come back is partially why we haven't seen him heavily featured. But to a certain extent, the same thing happened last year. The first few months he had the feud with Brock Lesnar going into SummerSlam. After that, he was a fucking tag team champion with Jey Uso, which I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card.
No.
And then it was kind of like, okay. And then it was flat for like a month or two going into the Rumble. So, I mean, for people to sit there and say that this is something new, like, I'm sorry, it's not.
It's not.
And not for nothing, before I give it back to you, I just have one comment to make about the people that are complaining about this. How many fucking times did Roman defend the belt last year? What, 3 times? Like, come on. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
People complained in 2017, 2018 when Brock Lesnar would not defend the title every month. And I feel like he defended the title more than Roman did last year at certain points.
Probably.
Yeah, if I go back and look at the records and figure it out, I'm willing to guess, because Roman didn't work Survivor Series last year. Brock at least worked Survivor Series. He worked SummerSlams. He worked the Royal Rumble. Even Roman had filler, because you think about that 4-way match he had at the Royal Rumble this year. It was a real kind of like, oh, these are the guys I've already beat, and now they're going to try and team up and beat me. Oh, this is going to be, I won again. It's incredibly difficult to be able to maintain momentum sometimes. It just is. And I understand people's plight and saying that, maybe Cody isn't the champion that Roman was. And it's just, number one, Roman's first year was kind of uneventful. Really didn't do much. All it did was kind of plant the seeds for what eventually came into the Bloodline storyline. But look at between SummerSlam 2020 and SummerSlam 2021. And yeah, there were some good, great matches involved. He wrestled Edge. He wrestled, I think, Daniel Bryan and Edge at WrestleMania. Probably Bryan Danielson's best WrestleMania moment at WrestleMania, but that's besides the point. It's the grin that does it for people. He beat John Cena that year at SummerSlam.
There might be 0.
I mean, he had a bunch of other big matches, but again, was kind of treading water at first. I mean, yeah, he had the feud with Jey and all that stuff. That kind of, again, was the planting of the seeds for the Bloodline. Because Jey at that point was really an unknown. He was a tag team guy, a mid-carder, never really seen as a main event talent until that feud. It got really, really over. People were really, really happy with it. It got Jey into a new position. That's why Roman vetoed the win of losing to Cody at 39, was because he was just like, I want to keep this going and then be able to get Jey over, even though the SummerSlam match last year was kind of I feel bad for Jey, because I feel like that the top is the last 2 major shots that they've given him, SummerSlam and then WrestleMania. The WrestleMania match was bad, but then the SummerSlam match was not really, I don't think, delivered as much as well as people kind of expected. So now you wonder if Jay's going to be even involved in this OG bloodline versus new bloodline, or if he's just going to be waiting on Rhea to call. Because that I feel like Rhea Ripley and Jey Uso are now the new Mandy Rose and Otis. Will they or won't they? When will it happen?
Cornbread.
Everybody is in that. It really is interesting how whenever someone mentions to me that this is not a male soap opera, and then you got storylines like this where you're invested, and you're just like, shut up. Because you know what it is. It's very soap opera-ish. It's very prime time kind of drama, like daytime drama television of will they or won't they. It's gone on for years. And this is that old classic storyline where you're just like, I'm glad Russo isn't right for it. Jesus.
Because I'm not booked.
Exactly, Dennis. You're not booked. But, yeah, I mean, I think people need to, again, and we keep saying it here, but again, when dealing with the group chat earlier today, Cody Rhodes is a bankable star. Roman Reigns is a bankable star. I think Cody, there really hasn't been a drop off in business. As much as people are complaining, his reign hasn't been that great. Business has been okay. Business has still been doing good. He's still selling a ton of merch. In fact, he's outsold more than John Cena did in 20-something years. So, what does that tell you?
That John Cena sucked.
Yes, absolutely. But the same argument too can be made. Even though the same argument can't be made, because I look at the Ultimate Warrior in '90. Again, beating an all-time great, clean at WrestleMania, kind of a changing of the guard. And they had to go back to Hogan. Because we didn't know any better. At least that's the argument. Where I feel like with Cody, though, his title reign is going to be evolved. I just feel like that he's got so many placeholders right now. Because I think The Rock is on the horizon, which again will get everybody talking, and everybody will, then hopefully get it out of their heads. Oh, this is what they were leading to. Yes, this is what they were leading to. They're going to be getting new blood into the company as well. It was announced today that pretty much confirmed the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon, and Phoenix. They're coming. They've already got merch lined up. They're probably they're probably already got creative kind of in the wings.
Yeah, welcome to the LWO, guys.
God, they'll be so pissed if they can put that. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah.
You know it's going to happen, man.
I hope not, because this is their best chance that they've had. I keep saying, I don't know how much Mysterio has left, and he signs another 5-year fucking deal. So it's like, guy just loves making me look stupid because he's just sitting there and he's just like,
Oh man, Rey Mysterio was like that guy in Idiocracy, and he's just like, I like money.
It's funny too because it's like I used to hate him. I used to shit on him so much. I used to be like, the worst thing you did was procreate because you gave us fucking Dominic. But now I'm like, all right, Dominic's okay. Because Dominic plays a good scumbag. So he's just going to play scumbag
business
for the rest of his
in a
career.
way that I didn't think was possible for him.
No, he gets it. He's got good people behind him. He's got his dad and he's got Conan. I'm sure he talks to Conan all the time, which, people shit on Conan and things of that nature. And I like his podcast with him and Disco. Disco is entertaining. I don't like a lot of his takes.
I don't like his views, yeah.
I don't like a lot of his takes, but I think he's entertaining.
I'll give you that.
And then some of them I also agree with wholeheartedly. But I disagree with him more than I agree with him.
Yes.
That's what I'll say.
Yep.
Where Cornette, it's like I agree with him more than I disagree with him. It's the opposite. And but he's got those people behind him who know, because Conan's a booker. Conan also understands Mexico. Conan also knows how to draw heat. And I think that he's got the right people behind him in his ear telling him, hey, do something like this, do something like that. Like, you have the mustache and the mullet, because then people are really going to hate you. Like, yeah, just little shit. Because he's the only guy I know in the last 2 years that has turned heel twice. It's like he turned on his dad.
I wouldn't even say twice. I would say he turned heel, then he turned heel again.
Exactly.
or turned more heel, whatever you want to call it. But you're not wrong either. The one thing I would maybe add to this conversation is I don't know who told him to basically emulate Eddie's look when he was in WCW, but whoever told him that, man, they were spot on. They were spot on in telling him that.
They really were. I think that was a brilliant move on their part, because it's just like, it sells it more. Plus also with the whole, you were my dad at one, he might be my dad, that whole storyline deal where, God, I still remember when that fucking happened. Holy shit. That was 2005. So we're coming up on 20 years on that. I wonder if they're going to do like a 20th anniversary ladder match for that. Like, of course, it's not going to be. Yeah. I figured they would have done that for Liv and Rhea. That would have been fucking hysterical. Winner is custody of Dominic. What? We're doing this shit again?
I actually am surprised they didn't do it. I am. Not for nothing. I just am.
Of course you are. It would have been entertaining. Just the thought of it. It's just like, but at the same time, it worked better this time. Like, it was so well done. And usually, if it was other people that were doing that, they would have fucked that up. But it's hard to do, they just did it perfectly. It was just like, oh God, I hate him more. How can you make me make it? How do you hate him more?
It's funny when we watched that. I was thinking about it again earlier, actually, and then you're bringing it up now. But like, I think part of it is the fact that Rhea sold that dislocated shoulder so well that you wanted to root for her regardless. And like, she is the baby face at this point, like we kind of talked about in previous shows too, where it's like she's now the baby face. She's not going to be able to do anything really to become heel again, I feel like, because she's just going to be over. And the fact is like, okay, now we're looking at it this way. Okay, she's going to win. All right, Dominic's trying to protect her so she can win because he takes the chair from her. And it seemed like it's to save the match for her so she could win. And then all of a sudden, like, nope, fuck you. I'm still a heel. We're not baby faces. And neither is Liv Morgan now. And I'm just going to be more of a heel than I already was. It's just, it was a ride. It really fucking was a ride.
It's, you're kind of envious of Dominic too. If you've been in shitty relationships. Yeah. Because that's how you want to break up with someone.
Shit. Yeah.
To an extent, if you're in a shitty relationship and you just can't stand the girl or guy, whatever.
Person.
They, them.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm trying to be nice. And you don't like the person, or it's just become wicked toxic. You want to break up the way that Dominic Mysterio broke up.
Yeah.
With Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because pretty much you're going from a 10 to a 10. And, you just do it in such a way where it just humiliates them. And to think that this one faction did two massive turns on two of their hardcore members in one night. I can't remember that happening. Where it was like one big incident, and then the next, like later on in the night, they're like, "Oh shit, Oh, they got Damian too in the. Oh God, wow! Like I don't remember that happening in the NWO.
It's
I don't
it's
remember
funny.
happening
I was
in
thinking the
Evolution.
same thing. Like I'm trying to remember like all these NWO reveals and stuff, but I can't remember it either. Where it was like a bunch in one night either. I just can't.
Maybe the Wolfpack, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But at that point, I didn't even consider it. When it got to the Wolfpack point, I was just like, all right, this thing is dead.
I don't want to say it was dead, but it was on its last legs. Yeah.
It was on life support because it just that the last thing I wanted was to have another NWO faction, and it's just because you're diluting the water even more, and then it's Hogan and because I love Nash and Hogan, and I love Savage. I don't want to root against these guys because the problem is now I got to make a decision because it's like I like Nash, but Hogan's been my guy all these years, but Hogan's also getting old, and Nash has been my guy. So it's like. Because I think I was really the only kid in 1995 that liked Diesel. I had to have been. That's how I felt.
I just didn't feel they were booking him that great in '95.
No, they weren't, but they had nobody at that point.
I mean, that's true too.
They literally had. I think they were in negotiations with Jim Henson to create Wrestling Muppets. That's how bad the depth chart was back then. I mean, they had. You remember Santa Claus? It was Santa Claus, and it was Balls Mahoney, and he was Santa Claus, and he was managed by $1 Million Man.
Yep.
Then there was T.L. Hopper. He was the plumber. The Goon.
The Goon, yeah.
The Goon. I actually have a figure of the Goon. I had to get the figure. I was just like, it's amazing when you become a collector of certain standards you might have at some point of just saying, I'm only going to get my favorites. And then they release this obscure, shitty gimmick figure. And then you're like, I got to fucking have it. Like, I don't have a Godfather figure. I don't have a Papa Shango figure yet. That's coming in December. But I do have a the Ultimate Fighting Machine figure, right? So I have the Zodiac, but I don't have Brutus and Barber Beefcake, the Disciple. I don't have any of those figures, but I do have one of the Zodiac. The Goon I mentioned earlier. I think I have a couple of Terry Funk figures, but I also have Chainsaw Charlie. Like, it's just, but I won't buy a Stardust figure. I will not do that because I respect Cody too much to do that.
Oh man, you should just buy it so he can sign it.
No,
I think it would be hilarious.
I mean, it would be hilarious, but at the same time, it's just like if I was going to a Cody signing, maybe. But I also have like really, really good Ultimate figures by him that I want to get signed.
No, I agree. I'm just saying. You know,
I can't
I think
wait
it'd be
for the
hilarious.
WrestleMania 40 Ultimate. I know that's coming.
Oh, that has to have the mask
with the helmet and everything. Yeah, it's got to be there. And then too with that beautiful gold championship too.
Yep.
Because that's what it's become now. You know, because when we grew up, it was we got a couple of Hulk Hogan skins, we got a couple of Warrior skins, a couple of Savage skins, but now with just the age of technology, they are able to have distinct moments down to the fucking T. Like everything they're wearing, the costumes, the designs, everything from that singular moment is on point. And it's going to be really tough, though, when the Steiner Ultimate figures come in. Because, of course, they're wearing, like, varsity jackets, but they can't have the Michigan logo because they don't want to pay the NCAA.
Reasons.
Fucking reasons.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of like having a Gronk action figure, but he can't wear anything. Like, you can't mention that he was in the Patriots, for Christ's sake. Because then it's like you got to pay money on that end. By the way, speaking of the Patriots, Robert Kraft, shut the fuck up about the Hall of Fame. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. It's becoming more and more obvious to me that you were the fucking problem on why Brady split and why Belichick was also fired or whatever that fucking deal was. And the Boston media just loves taking a crap on him too, because of course they're like, "Wow, he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything at all about the Patriots after week 1 after they beat the Bengals. But all of a sudden, Gerard Mayo makes some questionable decisions, and Bill's all over it. And Bill is just all over it. It's like, guys, that's what he does. He's supposed to talk about questionable decisions when you're a coach, because he was a coach.
Yep.
It's easy for you guys to say because you've never done anything except be behind a fucking microphone. And of course, I'm someone, right, that's like, but you're doing the exact same thing. But I'm criticizing you because I'm not going to criticize Bill Belichick nor Gerard Mayo because I've never been in the spot. I don't think he's being petty at all. I think he's just trying to do his fucking job. God, that annoyed me so much. Because I'm just like, really, guy? He's out the door. He's gone. You guys wanted him fired the last 3 or 4 years. All you guys did the last 3 or 4 years was discredit every fucking thing the guy did his whole goddamn career while he was here. And you just said it was Brady the whole time. The whole time it was Brady. But they forget the fact that he was a defensive coordinator behind 2 of the best Super Bowl teams ever defensively, including one that shut down Thurman Thomas and Jim Kelly in the fucking Super Bowl and one of the biggest upsets ever. But of course, he did shit, right? It was all Brady, all Tom. Even though Tom got taken in the 6th round, Bill took him in the 6th round and developed him into being the best ever. But you all forget about that. You forget about the fact that he coached the best offensive player in NFL history and the best defensive player in Lawrence fucking Taylor. But you guys still got to take your shots. My God. It's been that kind of week.
Can you check your blood pressure real quick for us?
I'm fine.
Just want to make sure you're okay. Shit.
If anything,
Blood pressure!
It exasperates. It's able to get it out of me. Because it's all boiled up inside, and now it's like...
Yo, where's Bad Boys 2? Where's that? Woosa. Come on, man. Jesus. Damn, I thought we were talking about wrestling. We're talking about the Patriots again.
Have you seen the last 2 ones? I haven't even seen it. I think the last one I saw was the second one, and that was
the second one, yeah. I didn't even know there were more.
I didn't see 3 or 4 yet.
I didn't even know there were more.
No, right? No, and surprisingly, they had Joey Pants was in both of them. I'm like, what? He doesn't do anything anymore. And they brought him back. I'm like, well, he's got to pay for something.
Oh, man. Yeah, like I said, I didn't even know there was more than 2. So, takes the hell out of me, I guess.
We're also in conversations today about, and Mac brought it to the table, we were talking about Diamond movie reviews, which we've been kicking around ideas with the lovely Stephanie. To see what we want to do next, because we did a cult classic, the first one with Maximum Overdrive, which has gotten some great feedback from people, by the way. Like, really good. Yeah, people are really digging that. So I feel like that is something we're going to do more of. Of course, obviously, we're going to still bring you the best of our opinions as far as professional wrestling is concerned, and pretty much generally everything else apparently now, because Christ, how much has this show been dedicated about wrestling? Actually, quite a bit, let's face it.
I was going to say,
I'd say a good 90% of it. Of course, I had to go on my Belichick rant and my Boston media rant. You want to know what the problem is? And it's clearly now, because I look at this and I look at the chemistry that we have, and I'm sure that there's a good portion of the public that would probably really kind of poo-poo what I'm about to say and say, what an egotistical prick. This is an extremely hot take. But it's really not a hot take as far as I'm concerned.
I was going to say,
my opinion is, because I believe that, and I personally believe, and I almost guarantee that if we were on EEI, we would be the best show that they had on that fucking network and that station. And I firmly believe that because we have good chemistry. We're able to flow with these programs. I feel like this has been working with you, especially because we had the recent events lately with John's passing. And of course, when this all came about, it was just like, well, you had already just started anyways with working with him. And it's like, yeah, because it's fucking easy.
Yeah.
It's easy. We didn't have anything set tonight. We were pretty much just like, we'll just go through it. And I listen to sports radio and I listen to sports talk in this city and around the country for that matter, because I've also been an avid listener to FAN. I miss when Francesa was on, though, quite a bit. Mike was I love Mike. And I know people there's a lot of people that hate Francesa. I love the guy. I was in this chair for 30 years. Number one. They couldn't take it from me. Number one in this time slot. I had to retire. Yeah. But no, and it's hard for me to be humble when you feel like, hey, put us in, coach. If EI called me tomorrow, it was just like, we'll put you an afternoon drive. It's like, what am I going to do? Fucking say no? Of course I'm going to take it. Even though radio is let's face it, is not what it was 15 years ago. It's not what it was 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, a year ago for that matter. Every week I'm seeing more changes.
Hold on. I think sports radio is a little bit different, though. When you say radio, like you're counting like rock, you're counting alternative, you're counting R&B, you're counting contemporary, adult top 40, like all the different situations in radio. But I think that while those have kind of dropped off a little bit, especially with like Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, all this stuff, I think that radio, especially sports and talk radio, are still effective. And especially now with like the internet, like if you miss the show because you're driving, like you just pick up the rest of it on the website or whatever. So I don't think it's as dead as we really think it is at times, but yeah, versus everything else, yeah, it's kind of dying. I will agree with that. It's just not as dead as a lot of people think it is, I think.
With sports radio, no, there's still a pulse with sports radio. Plus also with the media contracts, because really there's nowhere else you're going to be, if you're at work or something, you can't watch the game, you'll be able to listen to it.
Yep.
You need that. And that's going to be that's always going to be there. Like as far as transmissions is concerned, there's always going to be a need for the sports broadcast to go over. And unless they do something where they create some kind of app where it's like, listen to any broadcast or any, well, I'm surprised they haven't hit that limit yet of.
I think some have actually, but like I used to have an app when I first moved down to New York, and I kind of like forgot about it because it's like you have the websites and stuff anyways.
Right.
So I think it was maybe right before COVID. I don't remember. And
TuneIn?
What's up?
Was it TuneIn?
No, I forget what it was. I really don't remember the name of it. But yeah, like I would pick the state and I'd be able to go through like different radio stations and it fucking worked.
Yeah.
I was shocked, but it worked. Meanwhile, if I use, I'm not going to name the name, but if I use somebody from Massachusetts, I use their Nesson, it's like, oh, come back to Massachusetts or come back to New England. And I'm like, fuck you. I'm not paying you $40 fucking to do that. So sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, but, you know how much it bothers my old man?
Oh, I can imagine.
When he's in Florida, and it's Spectrum. They're the same company that he deals with in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So he deals with Massachusetts Spectrum and Florida Spectrum. And all he wants to do is watch Red Sox in the summer.
Yep.
That's all he wants. That's what he wants. Let him fucking have it. So, of course, I'm sitting on the phone with him and trying to talk to him, and he's just like, they won't even let me watch it. Why? because I'm not in Massachusetts. But you pay for them in fucking Florida anyways.
Yeah, that's
What's the difference?
It's a different login, I'm sure. They'd have to move the
And he's
profile and all
just-
that shit.
He's so pissed about it because he's just like, why do I have to give them more money? I'm already giving them $300 to, almost times two because
The person I was talking to about this when, I was trying to borrow their profile and everything, because they don't really use it. They're home a lot, so
no,
they weren't
that's true.
thinking of using the app. So I told them, the person was just like, "Are you effing serious right now? Seriously?" I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "So if I travel and I'm away for a week and I want to watch the Bruins or I want to watch the Red Sox, I can't because I'm fucking traveling." I go, "Yeah, basically." He goes, "What the fuck? I'm not paying less than $40 for their stupid app. The same as I got it said already. It's stupid. It's stupid. But I'm sure they make a killing either way."
It is, well, how many people really have that net? The people that are, who's carrying that Nessun app right now? The Bruins. The Bruins are carrying.
Oh, I know that.
Because of the fact that it's just, that's the sport right now that everybody in this city really cares about. Other than they care more about the Bruins in this town than the Celtics, and that it's maddening.
I actually don't know if that's going to be true this year after this past year.
Well, I think
We'll
there's
see.
the bandwagoners, are going to start hitting the line, but at the same time, I think there's
True.
It's always hard. It's one of the reasons why I've always kind of been. I love the Bruins and I hate the Bruins, but like a lot of there's a certain portion of that fan base. I'm just like, yeah, I know why you want to talk about these guys instead of the world champion Celtics. I get it. Let's move past that and witness what was going on in this area that's good instead of just focusing on the fact that, you want to talk hockey because
Some people
you don't like
just
the NBA
love
for some
fucking
reason.
hockey, man.
I get it. I understand it. I've always said the Bruins fans are the most loyal fan base in the city of Boston.
Yeah.
The most loyal. The most loyal. They are diehards through and through. Even the women now. Even the pink. It's very hard for me to find a pink hat Bruins fan now. I think they're out there, but then there are those ones that just love fucking hockey for some reason and just know everything. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, really? Plus, they just want to go to a game and drink beer. Okay. How come we didn't meet 10 years? Never mind. Like, the hard part, we'll jump into wrestling because it's more or less, this is something I've always kind of wanted to bring to the table and discuss. Of the last couple of shows that I've gone to, actually when I went to the New Japan show back in 2019, which that was a very mark-heavy crowd.
You don't say.
There was a very good portion of women at the show where I was just like, what the fuck? Like, are you subbing to the New Japan world? Like, what the hell's going on here? Because I needed in my life, and because Okada was world champion at that point for them, when I knew they were in Lowell, I was like, I need this in my life to at least see him one time as champion for them. And I did. Like, so it's not like I have to go to AEW or anything to watch. That was a very weird show too, because there was the Rock and Roll Express was on the card. Like, they were on the undercard. I'm like, you fucking Rock and Roll Express, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit! Because I just was like, because wrestling at that point was AEW Dynamite. I don't think it started yet. It was going to start within the next week or two, or like within the next couple of weeks or something.
Okay.
So there was that. It was the indie wrestling scene was really kind of just starting to go through kind of like a lot of things were moving in place. Everybody was starting to get really kind of excited for him.
Yep.
And no one gave a shit about WWE. I remember going to a show. I went to SmackDown that July in 2019, and the building was half full. There was really no buzz or anything like from anybody. Like, I think Roman Reigns was there, but he didn't even wrestle. Like, it was a very weird show. I went with my brothers. It was the first time that we had gone to a show together, at least all of us, because I had gone with my brother David to my very first show that I ever went. I went with my brother David, Michael Shawn. Michael Shawn, who everybody says looked like Hulk Hogan with his bandana, which is hilarious. He's kind of got the wings going a little bit like Doc Brown. I still remember that back in the day. He had the
like
wings.
Doc Brown
like,
or Paulie?
It was no, it was the Doc Brown because it stuck out more.
Gotcha.
He never had the wings of good old Paulie, mostly because he's Irish.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. What are you laughing at?
Nothing wrong with that, but also, I was knocking another ethnicity and their stereotypes.
Oh, okay.
I was, because it's every day now. Clips of The Sopranos just pops up on my feed. Like where I find myself, and I remember the episode half the time. It just clicks. I'm there. I'm like, oh yeah, this is when that happened. And that seems to be like a consistent thing now because I'll just randomly get, and of course I'll save them, and I'll go back and really look at my save folder, and it's like 6 of the videos of the same clip. You're like, oh fuck. Like the one,
so hold on. We were talking about random clips lately.
yeah,
I don't like, I'm not talking just Sopranos, I'm talking period. I don't know what the fuck it is about GTA 5 that all of these videos of
God.
the radio person seem to be coming out now.
yes,
This game has been around for over 10 years at this point, I believe.
I know.
And it's like, people still make videos about this game. And some of them people have never seen because they don't maybe listen to that channel when they jack a car in GTA or whatever the fuck else. Like, it baffles me to no end that we're still just seeing some of these things from this game, like 10 plus years later at this point.
I'll admit I'm probably on director mode on Spotify, my playlist. I'm not even listening to the radio because I'm
Yeah, I
at
don't
that
either.
point,
I
it's
do the
just
same
like,
thing.
mass carnage, fuck it. Like
I mean,
I want to
there
listen
is
to like
some songs, maybe. Like, I remember, oh man, what was it? Cult's Personality, actually.
yes,
I think the first time I heard it was not CM Punk, but it was one of the tracks in one of the GTA games. That was the first
Yes,
time I remember hearing
you're right.
it. And I'm like, okay. And I'm assuming this is like PS2, PS3 at this point. Maybe it was either Vice City, San Andreas, or 4.
so it's PS2 era.
But I don't remember which game it was. Obviously, it's not Vice City, excuse me. It would have been...
Probably 3, I think.
I think
Well,
it was
not
San
3.
Andreas.
No, it was San Andreas
I
because
think it
3
was.
had original music except for that one channel that played everything from Scarface.
I forgot
Everything
about
else,
that.
yeah, everything in 3 was original except for the channel that played all the Scarface music. Push it to the limit. That's a movie I think we're going to do on Diamond Reviews because I don't think she's seen it. I'm like,
What,
'cause
Scarface?
she's seen clips, but I don't think she's seen the full
You're
movie.
kidding me.
I don't think she's seen the full movie.
Oh, man. Okay. I'll have to rewatch that because it's been a long time, but shit. I
And
can't believe that.
it's been a long time, and also now it's like because I remember my first. I was just transitioning from high school to college. It was that summer. I was in New Hampshire at the time because my parents had a lake house. Yeah, and so I remember it was raining one weekend, and I was just flipping on the channels, and one of my are we thinking about the same thing?
I don't know.
Years
I
later?
don't know. Well, I mean that, yeah, obviously, but that's not why I was laughing.
It was raining, and of course, so it's like, what is there to do? So I fucking put on TV, and AMC's on, and that was my introduction to The Godfather.
Jeez.
And that also kind of started. And I remember, like, the same weekend I went to, there was an FYE at the Steeplegate Mall, which no longer exists, by the way. Closed down. And actually, it's abandoned. I've seen videos of people that have they go around and they run around it. That's the funny
the
part.
mall. I thought you meant
The mall-
FYE.
No, the mall, FYE is still hanging in there.
Oh,
Because they
jeez.
had to change their. But I remember going to the FYE at the Steeplegate Mall and I bought the Scarface. I think it was Scarface. And then I went to Borders and I bought the Godfather trilogy on VHS. Heat, a couple other movies. Pretty much at that, because that was my introduction at that point. I'm just like, okay, I need to know fucking everything. Get into this genre completely. Because you didn't know anything growing up. Like, you really didn't. Like, I don't know what my favorite movie was when I was 17, because I would have been American Pie or something like that, or something with boobs. Like, that's my mentality was back then. Then all of a sudden, 18, it turns, you're just like, fuck it. That seems fun. And your brain just kind of opens up. You're just like, this is fucking amazing. And it's still like that, because it's like I'm still watching the movies from 40, 30, 25, 20 years ago. What's been the last, well, except for like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that was excellent. Probably The Irishman. And then of course, non-Marvel before like Infinity War and Endgame.
All right, so hold on. What year are we going with? 2000 or 2001?
What, that I started?
No. Just you said you don't think you can name your favorite movie from when you were that
2000.
age.
So 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, 2000.
Okay, so let's
2001.
Google this real fast here, because just movies in 2000. I'm just gonna go through a few of these. I'm not gonna go through and go off on a huge tangent here.
Yes.
The year 2000 had Road Trip,
Yeah.
Ready to Rumble, ironically enough.
Oh,
It's also
God.
the year 2000. Apparently, ICP, Big Money Hustlers, was also the year
Yes.
2000.
I remember that one. I never watched it, but I remember.
either. All right, so scroll down. Gone in 60 Seconds. Pro Salvation, which I believe was the third one.
Gone in 60 Seconds is an underrated film.
100% is. But I wouldn't have said it otherwise.
Right.
Mission Impossible 2. The original X-Men.
yes.
The Replacements. Requiem for a Dream. Perfect Storm.
Ugh.
Bagger Vance. I'm just naming some of the more popular ones from that. Hollow Man was also the year 2000. I forgot about that.
Oh God, I do remember that. My cousin actually went to see that the night before my brother's wedding, and she was telling me how bad it was. I'm just like, why? It's terrible.
Oh, God.
Like, you paid money to see that?
Yeah. I remember somebody that did that, and I was just like, why?
Why did you do that to yourself?
All right, so remember the Titans,
All right. Yeah.
The Patriot.
That's a damn good film.
Which one?
The Patriot.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure you weren't
It's
still
fucking-
talking about.
no.
Remember the Titans.
No.
Remember the
like,
Titans isn't bad, but
Remember
the Patriot.
the Titans is good too, but fucking the Patriot, like Mel Gibson has been in some of the most violent, historically awesome films ever. Like the Patriot,
You know,
like Braveheart.
I don't even want to say it that way. You're not wrong, but I would call them, like, I hate to use that same term of violent, but like these violent like epics, right? Because he's in this and he's in, can't remember the fucking name of that movie right now. It just fucking blanked on me. Just fucking said it too. Like he's in
Braveheart.
Braveheart, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Like two just like epics. Like I don't even call them movies. I call those epics because of both how long they fucking run and the story they actually fucking tell. Just between both of those two movies, it's like, holy shit. God, I'm just scrolling down, look at more movies, and holy crap, man. Just, it doesn't get better after that. I feel like
They
I'm sorry, hold on, it did get better. American Psycho, also the year 2000. Forgot about that one. For some reason, I thought that was later. I thought that was like 2002, 2003, but it was 2000.
and to think he became Batman after that.
I
It's
know.
like, holy shit.
I know, holy crap.
He does have so many great lines in that film.
He really fucking does. He really does.
Hey, Paul!
Hey, Paul! Oh my god, Mel Gibson was also in another movie in the year 2000. Not a movie
like
that you and I would have
Human
watched. Yeah.
Oh,
What Women Want was the other
God.
Mel Gibson movie.
I've seen that. You know why? Because it was on the bus back. It's because they put movies on when we were coming back from Montreal with my dad,
I apologize.
and that film was being played. And of course, everybody, all the girls were just like, Mel Gibson. I'm just like, I want to see him kill people.
All right, so there were a couple other ones. What's this? Under comedies. I guess I should have scrolled comedies more. Little Nicky. Dude, Where's My Car?
Oh, Little Nicky's excellent, underrated film.
Scary movie. Me, Myself,
Good
and Irene. Yep, both good
All
films.
good, all good.
The Whole Nine Yards.
Swallow.
I don't remember this one, but now I'm gonna have to watch it because it's called My Five Wives. Looks like Rodney Dangerfield's in this.
Oh, I
Yep.
think, and then I think Andrew Dice Clay is in that too.
Yep, he is.
Which
I'm gonna have to watch that now. I think.
is that like? It's probably exactly like Meet Wally Sparks.
I mean, it probably is. Yeah. Let's be real.
I think the fact that you know that Meet Wally Sparks, it's like, yeah, I know we're friends.
Yeah,
'Cause it's
I know.
like it's just. I mentioned Meet Wally Sparks. I'm expecting to hear crickets. You're just like, yeah, it probably is like Meet Wally Sparks.
Yeah, because dude, I don't remember it that well. I remember enough. It's just holy crap.
Rodney, I'll give him credit, was in 3 all-time classic 80s
Yes.
comedies in Caddyshack, Back to School, and Easy Money. Like,
I don't even remember Easy Money that well. I remember the
Joe
other two.
Pesci's in it.
Oh shit.
Joe Pesci is his co-star. It's like, and it's just fucking hilarious because it's like a PG rated Joe Pesci and it's Rodney Dangerfield, and it's fucking hysterical.
That's awesome.
It really is.
I just kept scrolling for 2000 comedies and I found American Psycho again. Had no idea that was a fucking comedy. I mean, I guess it is a little bit, but shit.
Now that I think about it, because I mentioned 2001, and I
Okay.
think that what really kind of started because I have to be honest here before, and again, it was in New Hampshire. And I was surprised my parents were not pissed off with me about this, but I honestly don't think they knew the runtime of the film, because I went to they went to see something, and I went to go see Gladiator.
Great movie.
And oh my, that I think was also the real kind of introduction of like
So I just Googled it.
masterpieces. Like,
I just Googled it. 2000.
yeah,
I don't know why it wasn't popping up on the list that I had. I just literally just had
Yeah,
2000 movies, but yeah.
yeah, that
Gladiator
kind
as
of
well.
that kind of sparked my interest. I think in everything to kind of about film, because it's just then I started to
You know what though,
get
man?
opened up to everything.
You know what though? I think for you and I, it's a little bit different.
Yes.
And hear me out. I don't think it's just what you watch. I think it is also when you watch it. And I mean that in two different ways. So number one, like, we saw a lot of things younger because we both have older siblings. I think that's a big thing, right? I saw some movies probably way too early. I saw 89 Batman when it came out in 89. And I saw a lot of other stuff probably earlier than I should have. But also, like, the one thing I'll say is
sometimes it's who you watch it with too, because I don't think I ever had as much of a laughing fit when you and I were in Cooperstown and saw Zombieland for that.
Oh
first
my
time,
God,
But it still
that
was the
was so-
theatrical release. I don't think I ever laughed so hard in my life. And it was on the other day, ironically too, and I still laughed and like, oh man, like memories, you know.
Yeah, oh, that was such a fun trip. Oh, that was so fun. I remember I caught hell, and I knew I was going to catch hell. Fucking came home with that Reggie Jackson picture and got fucking so much shit for it. It's like, oh my God. I wanted to, I actually almost called you because I'm like, because I needed a form of reference. I'm like, I didn't pay that because the guy was going out of business. I remember. So there was a lot of shit he had.
Cheap. You got like
I did.
far
It was under.
cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted like 150. I think I paid under 100. But of course, it was the price tag was still on it, and she's just like, "Man," I'm like, I didn't pay that. I almost got you on the phone that night because I'm just like, I need to prove it.
If I remember correctly, you paid around 80 or so. 80,
Yeah,
85.
it was.
And I
Yeah.
remember you being in there too and trying to talk him down, and I start laughing. I had to walk out because I just started laughing. I was just like, oh my God, he's really trying to fucking haggle this guy. And then you fucking walk out with the biggest shit-eating grin on your fucking face because you had talked him down to like 80, 85 bucks. It's just like, holy shit. I couldn't even believe it. I was like, you're kidding. Nope, did it. Got it. Fuck, man.
Sometimes you just have to, you gotta, because I'm one of those guys that's like, take her to leave it right now. Like, and most of the time, once you start walking up, 9 times out of 10, if you're like, got your hand right on the door, if they really want to make a deal, which he did, he was, when you got to liquidate,
Yeah,
and
you never know. You might
Yeah.
not get the business at all for it, and then it's something else that you gotta, pay back depending on why
I was
you're
going to spend
liquidating.
money with him too, because I remember he had like the 89 upper deck
man,
set
yeah.
for cheap money. I was just
Dude,
like, oh.
it was one of those rare occasions. It's like, and even that you didn't have a lot of cash. Like you had a card.
No.
But if this was a day when you had cash, man, this would have been like you like stroking your fingers through your dollar bills at that point. Be like, how much can I spend in this place?
Exactly. It's, because I've thought about it lately because I'm not so much because I'm looking to because I look at this fine room and it's got a lot of wonderful things, a lot of great things on it, a lot of things wrestling wise, but also at the same time, I'm reaching a point where it's like, kind of want to diversify a little bit and maybe get some more things to kind of put up there to kind of make it a little bit, because it's just, as I'm getting older as well, the more I'm more reminiscent of also just the fact of where I live and the area and how blessed I feel that I am to be from this area, this region of New England and Boston, things of that nature. It's as you get older, I think it's just more, this is home base. I'm
absolutely.
fine with it. And as much as I get aggravated with the ball clubs and as I'm aggravated with the Patriots right now, as they're up down 14-3. Fucking Jets.
La 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 la. Jets suck.
But of course, the Jets, I feel like, is also the best chance that people have of not seeing the Chiefs back in the Super Bowl. They're, at least I feel like, one of the few teams that have that opportunity because, I understand that Aaron Rodgers is coming off an Achilles tear and also, as some would say, but he's also won like 4 MVPs. One of the few quarterbacks in NFL history that have had the numbers that he's had.
How much is this painful for you right now?
Why is it painful?
It's Aaron Rodgers. He's playing for your rival.
It's pain because I've always liked Rodgers. That's the thing. Like I've
But
always
now he's
liked
playing
Rodgers.
for the rival, especially.
But the problem, it's not what it was though.
Oh, I agree.
You know, it's like the Yankees right now because it's like I look at Aaron Judge and I'm just like, yeah, he's one of my favorite players in baseball because of just the numbers he's put up. But it's difficult to kind of say, well, shit, like he's a fucking Yankee though. But at this point, it's like, yeah, I've seen 4 World Series in the last 20 years. I think I could put away that rivalry. Like it's just,
I know, like that's the thing,
it's
man.
just. I have to say, because they're probably going to be in the World Series this year, at least currently.
Chance, yeah.
There's a good chance, even though they're Houston's bitch. So if they play in the playoffs, who knows?
Yep.
But there's a good chance, especially with Soto, which if they win the World Series at that point, it's just like you have to give Soto whatever the fuck he wants. I feel like they have to do that anyways because they traded so much to get him. But it's hard for me to sit there and say that I have a rivalry with any team now because it's like I look at the Celtics, it's like, yeah, the Lakers are still a rivalry, but at the same time, there's certain players that I look at the Lakers, it's like I have a Shaq and Kobe jersey because that was a fucking sick tandem. Because they were also a very good transition because you just saw the greatest player of all time just retire in 98 after the shot. And all of a sudden now it's just like, well, it's a Shaq and Kobe show. That's a good transition.
Yeah.
It's like he's the closest thing to Jordan you're ever going to see. And then you got, the most dominant player in the league history. So it's like, as far as his physical specimen is concerned, because Christ almighty. And it's hard to kind of, when really great players play on rivals, it's hard for you to be a fan of them. It's hard because, of course, you're rooting against them. But at the same time, you also have to respect their game. Like, I look at Derek Jeter.
Well, hold on a second. Because
sorry.
No, you're good. I just want to clarify something. We can go back to Jeter in a second. But I just feel like, I know people that did this when Brady left New England and he went to Tampa. And
I did for a little bit.
Yeah, no, and I know you did. But the thing is, it's like, if the Patriots get bounced out of the playoffs, whether it be before the playoffs even start or during the playoffs, and Brady's still in, which we know happened, I rooted for Brady immediately.
Yeah.
During the course of the season, it's like, if they play, I'm gonna fucking root against him, and that's gonna piss me off and annoy me. But I can appreciate him during the season, especially when he is in Tampa, because it doesn't interfere with the Patriots at all, kind of like what you were saying before. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll root for him and his team's success. But push comes to shove, I'm going to root against him. I think when it's to a rival, like I don't even mean like if anybody has a rival that we could use as an example, let us know on YouTube or any comments anywhere, because I can't think of a recent one right now. Is the problem. But if I go back to those rivalries where it is the Red Sox against the Yankees, like Ellsbury went, Johnny Damon went, fucking go back to Clemens, he went, and I couldn't stand it.
Clemens, I understood, and I respected
I
Clemens
understood it, but I still hated it.
I hated it from the fact that he had to do it.
Granted.
And there was the same thing with my dad with Wade Boggs. He looked at it and he was just like, I hate it, but I hate it more because of the fact that I understand why he's doing it. Because
oh yeah, 100%.
Both those guys.
Well, that was the same thing with Brady.
On the doorstep. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Come on, let's be real.
It was a little different. It was a little. It wasn't going to last, but I also at the same time with Brady, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, but how many hometown deals did he take?
He took a lot, and 2, I think he also knew that the decline is coming if it's not there already.
That's fair.
I mean, they barely won 53, 52. They should have won, but 53 they barely won. Just because that offense was just so banged up, and everybody at that point, I think, had just been exhausted. That next season, would things have been different if they kept Antonio Brown? That's one question I'll never get answered. But still, at the same point, I knew there was going to have to be a trade. Brady was going to be gone no matter what.
Oh yeah.
He was either going to retire or he was just going to leave. And people needed to kind of accept that. I accepted it. I understood that 2019, it was just like, that's probably
I'm not going to disagree, but I feel like had he stayed those last 2 years when he went to Tampa, those for 2 years, I think maybe they could have put at least one more on. But what I was going to go back to about rivalries real quick, the biggest rivalry in football for me right now literally is, and it sounds weird to say it, but I'll explain, is the fucking Pittsburgh Steelers. And the only reason is because there are only 2 teams tied for the most Super Bowl wins. And it's us and them. The Patriots and the Steelers. They're the only 2 teams that have 6 Super Bowl rings. That's it. I can give a shit less about the Habs. I still fucking hate them. I don't care about the Jets. I think Buffalo is more of a rivalry now. But years ago when Dan Marino was in Miami, it was Miami. It wasn't the fucking Jets. It was Miami.
Always the Buffalo is going to fuck it up at the end. That's all they ever do. Buffalo is just that team. They're going to, hope. Oh, fuck. That was really weird last year. The wide right again. It's like,
I know.
I almost burst into tears laughing because it was just like, oh my God, it happened again. Jim Nantz having to be like, wide right. It's like, oh my God. Again?
Oh, there's no again. There are so many things I could say about the Bills, though, in terms of their just shit luck in the postseason. Not even just recent, but past history as well. But yeah, it depends on the rivalry and stuff. It depends on the teams. I feel like for the New England sports fans, there's really no rivals anymore. Yeah, people might still hate the Yankees, but it's not like before where it was like a hardcore like Boston sucks, New York sucks, like kind of rivalry where you go to the city and you don't want to have any sports paraphernalias for the shits. But what were you going to say about Jeter, though? I know you had a comment about that.
Well, it was just a general about when people kind of were saying, because I hated that argument in the late 90s and the early 2000s. Oh, Nomar is better than Jeter. It's just like, sit down and shut the fuck up, boy.
You know,
let me explain something. Let me explain something to you. Jeter is every bit of someone that I want on your ball club. He's like your first pick, just because of the fact that he is one of the best contact hitters I've ever seen, as far as numbers wise. But I love it when everybody's just like, oh, defensive. Oh, shut the fuck up. Like, he played a position that he played in almost like the beginning of the shift era. So, because that was when sabermetrics and all this stuff really started to come into play, when they could start really analyzing these geniuses that they have working in their organizations now, these GMs that are just like, well, what we're going to do is to eliminate the shift, we're just going to have everybody hit home runs. And the problem is that Jeter was kind of like in between, because it's like he's at the tail end era of, steroids, PED use, / no one really is in the sabermetrics thing. All of a sudden, the mid 2000s, that shit's exploded. Especially with Moneyball, all that stuff. That's where shifts started really coming to play. Then you got Alex Rodriguez playing third base now over you at one point. You're just like, what the fuck? But he had over 3,000 hits. It's very hard for me to argue. And also like a low three, I think he's like 310, really over 300 hitter. Yeah. So it's like, and he always came up when it mattered the most. And I go back.
That stat alone in that regard of coming up when it counted, I would say is heavily swayed towards Derek Jeter than Nomar Garciaparra.
sorry.
He was so frustrating at the end. It was like,
Who, Nomar?
and, yeah,
Yeah.
those last couple of years, I was just like, oh, I hate you. I want you out of here for some reason.
Those last couple of years, man, the only thing I felt he did good, which required him to get on base, was actually base run.
Yes.
After that, I was just like, you just be a pinch runner because you don't have a good bat. You never really did. It was decent, but it was never like, consistent is the problem, kind of like we talked about a second ago with coming up big. And he had a decent glove, but kind of like you were talking about, it's the tail end of the steroid era. And now we got a guy who is not a big part of the game because nobody's hitting it to him.
No.
So it's like, okay, great. What are you doing for us then? Just sit down. At least fucking Jeter hit the ball consistently. I didn't need to worry about a fucking 10-game hitting slump with fucking Derek Jeter most of the time.
There was a game where Jeter drove into the stands and busted his lip up bad. He dove into the stands and he made this really ridiculous catch in foul territory. And he's also, he's a fucking matinee idol. Like, the girls in New York just love the guy. And considering his rap sheet, for Christ's sake, I mean, it's something to admire and respect. But you also have to understand that this guy is diving head first into the crowd to try to catch a foul ball because all he wants to do is win. Meanwhile, Nomar is sitting on the bench with some dumb injury again. And I'm just like, I'm done with this guy. Let's move on. Like, is there a way we can get Jeter? But Jeter is not going to leave the Yankees, for Christ's sake, to come to the Red Sox. Like, that's the equivalent
You know
of
what it
leaving.
is, actually, as we were talking, I found this. I literally, again, Google is your friend. So I found, and I'm just gonna, it's a snippet. I'm not gonna read this whole thing. Ironically enough, though, is from Boston.com saying Nomar was better. Allow me to explain.
Oh, fuck off.
Which, yeah, exactly. You're a Boston.com. Of course you're going to be for fucking Nomar, just saying. However, here's what it says. I'm not looking at the graph. I can't see when this starts because it's a very small graph, and if I click on it, I got to read through the whole page. But during that 7-year stretch, is from the article, Nomar delivered 270 doubles, 169 homers, and 653 RBIs. Jeter gave 210 doubles, so 60 less, 117 homers, so about 52 less, 530
Contact
RBIs. Yep, get to that in a second. So about 103 less RBIs. However, Jeter had over 100 more hits, 1351 to Nomar's 1210. So again, all of that tells you is that Nomar could hit too, especially early on. However, he had arguably far much less on base percentage and contact hitting than Derek Jeter did. You could have worse numbers than somebody and still be a better player. Just saying. Just throwing that out there. I hate that argument. And I hate that you brought it up earlier. And I hate that I got trapped by it again.
I have to sometimes make points and prove to.
But you know what it is for me though? It's like
310 career average, 3,400 hits.
Yeah.
Career WAR of 71.3. Yeah, I'll take that.
But you know what? This conversation always gets under my skin because, first of all, I hate how uneducated some fans can be certain times. Because, that person's better. Okay, maybe you're a bias. You have a certain
fans.
opinion.
We're AEW fans now, shitting on the normal people that come into the conversation. You gotta Google it. Google who he is. You don't like New Japan?
I don't know. There might be zero.
Exactly, Dave.
Yeah. But yeah, I hate it when it comes to these arguments because
Still tie into wrestling, folks.
yeah, it does. It does. Because I was such a yeah. You know what? We'll tie it in a second.
because I hated Jeter so much back in the day because I was such a hardcore Red Sox fan at the time. But Nomar had this thing where he would just piss me off, man, because you'd be inconsistent. And I'm sorry, there's just one thing I need to get off my chest here. I always hated this about Nomar Garciaparra. I hated his fucking dance right outside the batter's box with the fucking gloves, man. I could not stand it. Like, what are you fucking doing?
Every time.
Dude,
if I was
anytime he stepped
pitcher,
in the
I would have
box-
headhunted him every single
Yeah.
time.
I would have hunted those hands hard. I would have been,
Well, he did at one point.
Up
That's
and
what fucked his
inside.
career up.
yeah, shocking. But it's like, what are you doing? And I hated Jeter so much back then, and it pissed me off. And yeah, it's like for me, it was WrestleMania 6. It was fucking Hogan and Warrior. Just I want to like you, but I can't. And then I was fucking wrong. It pisses me off.
I understand. But at the same time, you've come to Hulkamania, so it's fine. You've realized that you've realized the error of your ways, and you've been able to now embrace Hulkamania for what it is, and made it a part of your life. It's made you a better person, Mac. Hulkamania has made you better.
That's a stretch, but yeah. Still an asshole. I can admit that fully.
Sitting there watching SummerSlam 05. What the fuck?
Didn't happen.
Listen to it squeal our tires outside of my fucking driveway. Jesus Christ, I've never seen somebody leave my house more so pissed off that was a male. Like,
Ooh, man.
What did
You
he
know-
say earlier about that one person that he was talking about? I forgot, man. It was about some wrestler, and he said he looked like Payless version of Simone Biles or some shit, man.
something like that, yeah.
I've burst out laughing so hard when I saw that.
What an interesting conversation that was.
Yeah.
Like, and that kind of what brought me into tonight, because I was just like, because I've just been thinking about everything. Like, it's been an interesting, bitter kind of like it's been an interesting ride the last few months where you're just still trying to get your head out of a fog, and then shit happens where it's just like, huh? Like, it just you I don't know. It's like I wouldn't say it's a midlife crisis, but I would more or less say it's kind of just like the Enlightenment era, maybe. Is that something to put?
I also get like that when I smoke too much marijuana.
That could be it, but I mean that could be distinctly it. But also at the same time, it's been a weird fucking ride, man. The last 6 months or so.
Yeah.
And it's like that with this year has just been really weird because we started this program and then kind of merged it with certain events happen throughout the year where you're just like, oh, shit.
Ooh, man.
Like it's been at certain points it's been fun, and then at certain points it's just been outright fucking guttingly brutal. And to think about it's the middle of September, it's like, or end of September for that matter. It's like, where the fuck did the time go?
It's funny because I was thinking about some of that today myself, ironically enough. Even before we started the show, I was kind of thinking about certain things that have gone on this year. And you're right, it's almost September, and I just want this year to end already. Like, I kind of have to say it that way. For all the good things that this year brought, whether it be personally, professionally, or just anywhere else in between, obviously. It's been one of those years where it's like, even accounting for the good that's happened, I just want the year to end. Like, I'm so, like, mentally and emotionally drained from the year, from everything that went on, that good or bad. Like I said, I'm good. I'm good. If we never have to talk about 2024 again, I wouldn't be unhappy. I just fucking wouldn't. And I'm sure that after November, we might be talking more about that, depending what happens. That's the only political thing I'm gonna say. Shit.
I'm just trying to live my life.
Yeah, man.
Just staying out of the weeds. Hoping I can get to Disney next year. You know, like all that. That's kind of the thought process at the moment, because it's just, yeah. I actually was thinking about moving the trip up. I was doing the prices. I'm just like, if we go in October this year, that we could do it for like $500 less. Because I'm like, because it's just, I don't know. I just kind of need like a break for a couple of days, or it's just like,
Yeah, I was on the same thing with a coworker. I was like, usually what my company allows us to do is carry vacation time over. So a max of 2 weeks, but you can carry over less, doesn't matter. Just anything more you can't. And look at me, great job. Ugh, sorry. But I'm thinking about trying to carry over more time into next year, because that'll give me like 5-6 weeks if I can manage it. Granted, I can wait like a year or two and they get basically like 5 weeks allotted to me anyways, but still,
Right.
I want to start carrying shit over now because I'm thinking about different stuff I might want to do. Probably not going to happen anyways, but shit. And because I was telling my coworker, I was like, I need a break. Same as you kind of saying, like, I just need a break. And she's like, just like go, just leave. Like, you have time. I know you do, because you only take like half days and maybe an off day here and there. So I know you got the time. I was like, I do. She's like, so just fucking take it. And I don't know what it is. It's just like, I enjoy what I do, but I might have to soon, because it's like, I need that fucking break. It's like, I don't know what it is about this year. It's not a, mental health crisis either. It's not, midlife crisis either. It's just everything that's gone on this year has been, up and down, roller coaster, it feels like.
Oh God. It's been brutal. At certain points, it's just like you got the lowest of lows and the really highest of highs, but then the highest of highs some point have a real kind of low to it. So you're like, oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
So it's it's been interesting to kind of go through. And it's like, because I'm sure everybody's listening to Pro Wrestling World Talks right now, and they're just like, wow, they really haven't got much. Well, because
I
We're in
think
that-
they're more like, holy shit, what
Because
is
we're
going
that-
on tonight?
because we're in that era of where we're in that time of the year where it's just like, yeah, we're not at Mania yet. We're not at the Rumble yet.
You know what it is, man? I feel like you probably feel this a little bit more. So there's something called seasonal affective disorder,
Yes.
where certain seasons make you feel certain ways. Let's kind of say it that way. Look it up. But I feel like that's the case. You work for the school district. We're not going to say where or whatever, but you work for a school district, and you have basically a school time schedule, right? So you feel that. You almost feel like back in the day where it's just like, oh man, like gonna go back to school next week. But there are other people too that seasons start changing, and it's just like they get morose and shit. And I feel like, especially this year, that probably hits a little bit harder too. Everything that's gone on this year, I just feel has gone to a certain extreme of like, maybe that's why I'm feeling shitty right now too. I don't know, but maybe it is. And I've never really felt, seasonal affective disorder, maybe around the holidays, but I feel like that's the case anyways. But, regardless, it's like, shit. Like everything that's going on, now the season's fucking changed. I can't get my shit together. Cats and dogs living together.
Mass
Necessary.
hysteria.
I don't know, man.
It's just, you got Halloween now where it's like, I'd like to go to Salem with Steph. Like, I'd like to get out there, but you're going to Salem in October. It's like, better off going during the week. Just take
take a day off or something.
just play a hooky day where you're just like, and just go to Salem, because going there on the weekend, forget about it. You're done. You're done.
Yeah, it's like you're just like this. I feel like unless you take public transportation, you're not going to park anywhere, anyways. Even at the public places, like it's going to be impossible.
I went last year. I wasn't going to go, and then David talked me into going, which, hindsight being what it is now, I'm glad I did it. But it was wall to wall people. It was ridiculous. It was like, it just at certain points, it's just like, I need a break for a minute. And every attraction had like a huge line to it, and it was just like, you gotta be kidding! Like, really? Come on! This really wasn't that busy when we were kids. What the hell happened? This is like it was a seaport town. That was the way I looked at it. It was like, oh, the pier's over here. I didn't really think about the I didn't really think it was going to become a Halloween destination, because
I don't know,
we were
man.
kids.
Yeah.
We were kids. Halloween
What-
didn't become what it's become now.
I mean, Hocus Pocus too, I think, probably played a role.
Oh, yeah, that movie did a lot to it, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, not only that, but I mean, I feel like as kids we have just a different perception of the amount of people there are, anyways. Like, dude, like I remember going to Disney and sitting in lines, but I don't remember it like vividly. But if I went now, I'd fucking remember it, because it would piss me off. But I just think as kids versus adults, there's just a different perception of the amount of people sometimes. Especially, if we factor in COVID too, that didn't help. That did not help.
It's never helped. It's just never helped. You just sit there, you're like,
But it all comes back to
God.
wrestling, because I don't know if I really want to sit in a sea of people anymore and be at some of these shows in some cases. Especially the AEW fans.
Oh.
Oof. I don't want to smell you guys. I'm sorry.
I mean, I could go to. They keep pushing collision tickets, because they're going to be in Springfield this Saturday.
For a burger and fries.
I'm waiting for it to just be like, oh, there was an ad that was going around. I guess if you got your car done or something like that, you had a chance to win tickets to Collision.
All right. So
like
real
if you-
talk. Man, had to be when I first started doing the other show around that time, and AEW was going to Vegas. I don't know if you remember this.
Yes.
So one of the other people that we used to work with on a different show that no longer exists in that format went somewhere, and I don't know if this is how I found out, if he took a picture, or if I saw it in the news and then posted it in that chat, or if somebody else did, but they're doing a show in AEW in Vegas like years ago, like 2-3 years ago, I'm thinking of, and it has like a picture of like something, I don't remember, and it basically read, get a combo meal with a large fry and get an AEW ticket to whatever show it was in Vegas. And listen, like, I'll say it this way, like, I don't know if that was real, but holy shit, if it was, I probably wouldn't be that surprised. Just saying. I don't think I would be. And every time we talk about this, of like having a surplus of AEW tickets and potential, games or prizes or whatever to get tickets, I think of that story every time, and how it's a struggle for them to even sell tickets now.
I
I don't know.
I'm actually going to a show tomorrow in Worcester at the Polar Park, which I think, which is funny because I remember saying, I'm like, who's going to be the first one to run that stadium? And of course, Big Time Wrestling, because they ran the McCoy Stadium in Pawtucket at one point.
Big Time's local too, though.
Yeah, they are, but they've also gone to like different areas too, like the
Yeah,
Carolinas
well,
and
they
Virginia at certain points.
Yeah.
But you know, they got some pretty big people coming in, including Sting. Sting is charging $150 for a meet and greet and a autograph, which I don't know. I think it's too rich for my blood, if you want my honest opinion.
If it was 2 years ago, would you do it?
No, because he would be charging $150.
Fuck
he was
you.
gonna always-
Fuck you. I mean the same price 2 years ago. What would you do?
If it was 2 years ago, if he was charging the same price, no.
Okay. I was curious because 2 years ago he's an active wrestler.
Well, it's not.
I'm just asking for that frame of reference. That's it. I'm not gaslighting
I
you.
actually, Steph did have tickets. I did have tickets to meet him at one point.
Okay.
I think it was $60 though, like for the combo. I think it was like $100 or something.
When was this?
So it was less. But they canceled it on us. So
Fucking bastards.
I think that's when she got me the Danhausen one, which was just as good.
That might be better at that point. That's why I was
Yes.
asking when it was, because if I know you said stuff, but we're talking, like 10 years ago. Okay, 20 years ago. Yeah, I want to meet the guy. It's like kind of like you said, like 2 years ago, and this year, I don't know if I'd pay the same at this point.
No,
If it was like less than $100, sure, maybe, but I just don't think it's worth
even
that.
$100. If it was $100, I'd do it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like around
like-
that, okay. Like I just anything over like I don't know, like what 110 then? Like I don't know.
Yeah, it's just, and I already have an autograph of him. Like I have an autograph plaque that's certified by WCW, so it's like I know that's legit. And I think I spent $50 on that, so it's like, I really don't want to get spend $150, get something else autographed, and then having to fucking because. When you go to shows, the last thing you want to do sometimes is bring an action figure to get signed, and then you're stuck at the stadium with the action figure that you got signed.
Yup.
Because you want to get beer, you want to get all that stuff, so it's just like,
But I mean, a lot of people, tote bag, backpack, something. But then it's just something else you got to worry about because I know that's going to be
there's
the
sticklers
argument.
now. These ballparks are like, "Get a backpack, sir."
That's true.
So it's like, because I think I was there for a game I was there a game a couple weeks ago, and they were just, no backpacks. So it's like, okay. So that answers that. But, it'll be cool just from the aspect of that, God, I wish this building was in Worcester 10 years ago, 20 years ago for that matter. Christ. Like, I wish that move happened, like, in the late 90s, early 2000s, because you probably
Hey, we could have had Nitro at Polar Park, man.
We could have had Nitro at Polar Park.
Badass. Just saying.
That would have
Imagine
been so
they do
awesome.
the like that spring break one where they had the helicopter and Nash fell in the pool and the pool was like, the ring was like in the pool, around the pool, whatever.
That was one of
That
the
was
coolest.
awesome.
That
Yeah.
was so cool. Like when WCW did their spring break every year and they had it like their ring in the center of the pool, it was just like, this is where you want to be. Like,
I loved
they
it because
made it.
Nash always had the Hawaiian shirts around that time too.
That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite stories of his. When he was just like, so it's me and Hall, and we're on double secret probation, right? So we end up. So it's a spring break this one year, and we go to this store and we get board shorts and then Hawaiian shirts. But again, we're on double secret probation, so we're like, all right, we'll get a sixer of beer. Like we won't a six a piece, right? Like a sixer. So they end up walking out with like 2 cases apiece. And the key was they had to get to Hogan's because they had the case of beer, and Bischoff saw them with the case of beer, and again they're on double secret probation. So Bischoff saw them with the beer, and they decide we gotta get to Hogan's locker room, and we gotta get a beer in Hogan's hand because at that point you can't fire us because we're drinking with Terry. You can't do anything because Terry's just gonna be like, well, we're having a drink. Like,
Oh, that's so
they're
funny.
literally children. They're
They really
literally
were.
children having to set this up of like, okay, if we get a beer in his head, he won't fire us. It's like, great. Like, we'll do that. And that's exactly what they did. And that was the same night, I think that, so they came out for the NWO promo where all Hogan did was talk the whole time. And they were in the background and they were visibly fucking hammered. If you watch that episode now of Nitro, and it's in March of, I think it's 97, probably 97. And Big Show like press slams him. He press slams Hall into the pool. But before that, Nash got away from him and just decided to do a cannonball in like the 5-foot pool. The visual of it is absolutely hysterical. He also talks about the fact that Bischoff and him had to have a conversation. He tried to convince Bischoff he's not drunk. And he convinces him somehow that he's not drunk and walks away from him. And then Buff Bagwell's just like, you good? And he's just like, I'm so hammered. That's what made if there was ever an era I kind of wanted to be a part of and just hang out with people, it would probably be Hall and Nash from WCW in that era.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God, the parties just seemed insane.
I could just literally sit here and imagine it, like 3 top guys of the company just fucking having a party, inviting half the other fucking roster, obviously, just going nuts.
It was part of Hogan's contract. He had to have a case of beer on ice every show that he was at.
Can't say I blame him.
I can't say I blame him either. And it's just like, but that was, I guess, I think Savage had the same deal. Like, which
That also does not surprise me.
it shows you now, though, how much the business has changed because they wouldn't do that anymore.
I don't think we've built into their contracts anymore. I think that's the only thing. But I definitely think some of them party after the show. I still remember Cody and Jey Uso coming out shit-faced and trying to do the press conference.
You know, under Vince, they would have got fined, but under Triple H, it's like, hey, that was great.
God, yeah, man.
It's just, you gotta let people have fun.
I mean, that's the thing. You know, like, I remember it. It was funny. Nobody really seemed offended, which, thank God, because at this day and age, I feel like somebody gets offended by something. I'm sure somebody just got offended that I say they got offended. I mean, shit, man. But I thought that seeing that side of them was good to show, truthfully. You know, 'cause sometimes you could tell, like, they're taking themselves a little bit too seriously at times, to say it that way.
Especially in that Vince era. Jesus Christ.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
just like, they were all fucking robots. Like, they just, the whole time, toe the company line. Toe it. Protect the shield.
You have to tell
And
us. You have to tell everybody this is where the best wrestle.
Yeah, exactly. It's just this
Ooh, ran.
fucking asshole.
I'm sorry. It was too good to pass up.
So annoyed. Just so annoying today. I'm just sitting there and I'm like, really? Why did you choose violence? Like, we don't have to choose violence today. Like, it's not, and the Jets score another touchdown. Or they call it that. No, it's a touchdown. Touchdown. Fuck. Yeah. Well, I mean, this is what we expected to happen last year before his Achilles popped. Yeah, this is kind of exactly what to be expected. And Beautiful fucking throw.
I mean, the thing is too. It's just like I'm not going to talk shit about Gerard Mayo. You know, he learned from Bill. It's his first year. They're obviously rebuilding as well. I'm not going to say shit about it.
No, I'm not either. And I'm really not going to. Think about it. Like, the only team I really just can't stand are the Bills and the Dolphins.
And the
Dolphins,
Kansas City Chiefs.
They don't bother me that much because I like Andy Reid. I like Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
I
just want them to lose.
It's hard to hate. It's hard to hate Mahomes, though. It's so hard because he's so damn good and he's a likable dude. It's the people that he deals with on a consistent basis, not so much. His brother, mostly.
Brother, wife, family, yeah.
Yeah, it's just I feel you kind of just feel bad for him.
Yeah, no, I know.
But
I knew that comment
you kind of just feel bad for. But he's a good dude. Like, you don't see him. He doesn't pop his mouth off. You know what?
Oh, nothing. I actually just happened to look at the ground, and there's this massive cricket standing right next to me. It's like, oh, okay. Hello, sir.
Hey, doing it with an audience.
I've come to say hello.
Like, because I was getting called a hater at one point today, and I'm just like, what are you just like? I didn't
call
argue
him a
with
hater?
you.
I thought I called him the hater. I don't remember.
I at one point said, I said, you're worse than me with AEW than I have ever been at my worst. Like, you're 10 times worse because you're just like mad at their existence of this company, and it's just like, I'm not mad at the existence because I just don't care.
But that's the thing. It's like,
it just don't. It doesn't bother me that they exist.
We've talked about it so many times in this show too. Like, listen, like, we don't hate AEW.
No,
we don't. We think they have a lot of great talent. We also think they have a lot of bad talent, but that's besides the point. Mostly we just hate Tony Khan.
Hey, I gotta go park my Mercedes. I'll see you later.
I work in the front office for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Shut up, Tony.
I hated just seeing him in like the draft room and just being like, well, they haven't gotten pile driven before. It's just like
oh my God, I know.
It bothered me so much because I'm just like, you're literally acting right now what people hate about wrestling fans. Like, you're literally doing that in front of a massive audience that wants to know this shit about the NFL because the NFL is the fucking #1 rated thing on the planet right now. So you're on there and you're just doing this, and it just makes you look bad. It makes the industry look bad. And I hate that. I hate when the industry looks bad. And the problem is, too, is that with the way that you've done things with the company, you've done that a lot. You've done that a lot. Where you've just made the company, well, wait, is it happening? They just showed them. I'm thinking, is it happening? Are they putting May in? Because I saw Brissett got hurt in this last. No, he's still back up.
Sorry.
Damn it.
Sorry. Listen,
I think he's gonna be good.
Yeah. I think
he's gonna be really good.
This needs to be the transition year, I feel like.
I do too.
And
I feel like just give him time to learn.
Yep.
Because you look at who's that guy in Bryce Young in Carolina?
Oh, I forget. I think what's with the mouth?
He's like 2-11 in his last 13 starts or something like that. It's a ridiculous statistic.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. There's so many. This first 2 weeks in the NFL this year, there has been so much like lack of offense. I feel like every time I'm watching the game, there's a field goal being kicked, but there's never like a huge like touchdown run or anything like that.
I didn't watch the scores. I just, I said this before. It's like I'm kind of okay with football this year. Like I don't care.
Oh, it's because Patrick Mahomes and you don't like him.
Yeah, no, I don't care about that either.
No, I don't hate Mahomes. I hate Travis Kelce though. He can die.
Yeah.
Die and I mean that not really.
Sorry, Swifties. Sorry.
I don't like him. And hey, look, I have no problem with the Swifties whatsoever. I have no problem with Taylor whatsoever. There's some music I think that she is wonderful. You know, and she's not bad on the eyes either. But at the same time,
Cornbread, damn it, cornbread.
at the same time, she is a icon and a role model for women everywhere. Everywhere. So I have no problem with the Swifties. I have no problem with Taylor Swift whatsoever. I think that her significant other is a douche, but to be fair, I always thought that before they even got together. So I've always been on that hate train of Travis Kelce for years, and it's had nothing to do with Taylor Swift. I just want that people to know, because there's always that line. Oh, you just hate him because no, I thought he was a douche before that.
I love that argument though. I do, because I'm in the same boat. Like I never really liked Travis Kelce.
Never liked him. I like Jason.
Right, Jason's cool, but
Jason's a cool dude.
Travis just comes off as the douchey brother of Patrick Mahomes sometimes, just like his actual brother, I guess, which is ironic. And then he started dating Taylor Swift, and my hate for him did not, or I shouldn't say hate. I don't hate the guy. I just severely dislike him. My severe dislike should, wane or grow and whatever else, but it really didn't. I still just hate or dislike the guy. Like I don't know what it is about Travis Kelce that you and I don't like, but we just don't like him. We'll just leave it at that.
No,
we don't have to explain.
Yeah.
We don't have to explain to anybody.
Explain it. It's just
There's something about the guy.
I just never liked him.
Just something about him. Yeah.
Never did.
And I know the people that come across as like, oh, it's because Taylor Swift. It's just like, no,
I hate him.
I didn't like him before it was even cool to not like the guy. Like,
exactly.
We were trailblazers, Dan. We were trailblazers.
We set the bar.
Like
we did. We set the bar. We were just like, I told you. And if they eventually break up, which they will, it's a matter of time. But who knows? I've been wrong before. I mean, who knew that this J-Lo and Ben Affleck situation, I mean, my God, are they together? Aren't they? Why are they showing pity? Who gives a shit?
I
Really?
mean, listen,
We're still talking about this.
Let's go back to another, celebrity football player duo. If you asked me in like 2005 or whatever it was, if Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen would be together nearly 20 years, I wouldn't have fucking believed you then either.
No.
So, take it for what it's worth. Like they might surprise us. Who knows?
I mean, the problem now is that Brady is single, so there's going to be a lot of because Kim Kardashian was trying her ass off too. She was trying so hard to get with Tom, and it's just like, Tom, don't do it. Don't do it, Tom. No. Please, no, Tom. Thank God he didn't fall for it. She still tried at the goddamn roast. Like she was up there, and I'm just like, she's trying.
I'm going to tell you this: if they didn't, you can just kill me off right now. Like just Walking Dead, send a walker, bite me right now, like whatever, man. Like Tom hit that. He's just not going to stay with it. Probably because he doesn't want to deal with the drama with, whatever the hell his name is, Kanye, like whatever the hell. I don't even know. I don't even know what to call him anymore. Like, listen. Tom hit that. That's all I'm going to say.
Greatest talent of a generation. That's what you need to call me. Greatest talent of a generation. You need to call me. Exactly.
Wait, we haven't heard from Dave in a while. Hold on.
It might, I don't know. There might be zero.
You're right. Dave is right. Dave is right again. Zero. That's all that, we're not even really bringing up his name either. Because I'm just like, no, we're not going to talk about him. Jesus.
Oh god, I don't want to.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that you know what really bothers me?
You know what really grinds my gears?
The fact that no one really wants to acknowledge that the Renegade was a better influence on the Ultimate Warrior than anything possible. Like, the Renegade was it. That was...
Oh, man, you could have gone you could have gone so many different ways with that. And literally, if you didn't say anything, because you had the kind of like a pause there for dramatic effect, obviously, I was about to be like, I acknowledge my tribal chief, and it's not Solo Sikoa. But anyways, I apologize. That was my initial thought.
No, my because that's the thing about wrestling, because you're always thinking about, like, do you remember that ladder match with it was the McMahons and Steve Austin? It was control over WWE, and it was somebody raised the briefcase when Austin. We never figured out who raised the fucking briefcase.
Well, I just figured it was like The Rock or somebody.
The Rock was a babyface though, because he fought the Undertaker that night.
That's true. Fuck.
So it's like we never really got to figure that. Like, there was always suspicion. Oh, it was Shawn Michaels or something. It's like,
It was Stephanie McMahon, my daughter.
my daughter Stephanie. Like, who knows if that is, but they never got a conclusion to that. Of course, this is the same company that like a month before had pretty much just said, well, who's the higher power? It's me, Austin. Oh, son of a bitch. It's like, oh my God, no, you jumped the shark.
You know, listening to The Undertaker and his podcast now, he talks a little bit about that and how he's trying to rescue you guys, right? Like, rescue the Acolytes, rescue Midian, other guys that were kind of, you know, on the outskirts and maybe dropping off a little bit even in some cases. And then he goes, yeah, and then the ministry came in and just got stupid. I forget the name of the guy that he partners with to do the talk show, but I remember he made a reference to the NWO. He just, Undertaker's just like, yeah, something like that. Yeah, but it got to be too many people. Yeah, that was the same run. Yep, that was us.
I still remember when they merged with the corporation. I was just like,
yeah, it became corporate ministry.
Yeah, it's like, and then it's just a bunch of guys in suits, and then these guys just it was like the goth club, and then the yuppie 80 guys that were doing coke.
Yeah,
they all kind of just went to the same bar, after hours bar, and that's kind of what it turned into.
Yep.
Which, yeah, that was what I felt like the corporation was. And then you had Triple H with like the leather jacket on, so he didn't know which way he was going to go. Am I more corporate? Am I more ministry? I don't know. And
I think that was around the same time he did Blade, if I remember correctly, too.
No, he did
right
Blade.
Around that, wasn't
he
it?
did Blade when he was. He did Blade when he was actually in the midst of his reign of terror.
Okay.
Yeah, when he was in that 4-year run between like 02 and 05.
Yeah. So it was close then.
Yeah.
It was pretty close.
I don't care either. You know, I hate it when people shit on that reign back then. And it's just like, because you look back on it now, it was pretty damn good.
Well, also,
there was a lot of
good
shit that came. They had no one. They had him, and that was it. And you think about, he gave us Batista, like not just on a wrestling level, but he created literally one of the best probably actors wrestler turned actors ever, because he has done so much shit where you're just like, holy God. Like, that is really, like, you got some range, dude. Now he looks completely different. He lost all the weight because he wants to do other roles, and like, he's really making a go at this thing. And I think at the end of this, he's going to be in the conversation where probably as far as I'm concerned, of top 5 or 10 like main wrestlers that kind of went mainstream, he's going to be in the conversation. And I mean, you could argue that started when he did Guardians, but
Well, 100% did.
they also didn't expect it was going to be a hit, which I always remind people that we gave up him going to the red carpet of Guardians of the Galaxy, which became one of the biggest hits in 2014, and also Marvel's library, technically, ever. And he was the star of that and had one of the better roles in that film. We gave that up so Daniel Bryan can win the championship, which would have made the company that much bigger 10 years ago. And people thought Vince McMahon, he's not giving us what the people want. No. You know what he's doing? He's making the people realize, hey, we're still around, fuckers. Because no one was watching at that point. And yeah, the internet fans were all, whippy, it's the greatest WrestleMania ever. I was watching it after having my heart just ripped out because the Undertaker situation had happened an hour earlier.
Yep.
And I'm supposed to be excited because this guy that, let's face it, 10 or 15 years earlier would have been wrestling for the Intercontinental Championship. He wouldn't have been even close to the main event scene.
Yeah.
And he just beat one of, all of a sudden, miraculously, this big underdog story. He beats all of Evolution in one night. And you sacrifice Batista going to Guardians of the Galaxy as the WWF champion, as the WWE champion, with a nice belt.
The nice belt that's getting red carpet exposure.
Yep, at Disney Films, where everybody at this point is hot on Marvel. It's not like Marvel was relevant for another 5 years. When you were at your worst creatively, they were at their finest. Like for a 5-year period where Marvel was just the best source of media possible from like 2008 to 2019. It's very fitting that this is like that 11-year period. The WWE was in like their PG era, and no one was giving a shit. No one was talking about it, especially how it all ended in Endgame in 2019, and yet WWE in 2019 almost just hit rock bottom creatively. I really can't blame them on what happened with COVID, so I really don't count the years of 2020 and 2021-ish. Except for the moments of the main moments, like at least that's when the bloodline kind of really got going. And the Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton stuff was really good too. I really would have enjoyed it had they had it in front of fans, but it still was entertaining at least to watch during that time because there really wasn't much else on during that period. Yeah, the Money in the Bank matches were fun too when they had them at WWE headquarters. I will give them credit. There were some times that they really, really tried and they made it really, really fun. And then there were some other times that were just like this, they're not even trying.
I don't know, man. I think they were to a point, but I think you're right that, first of all, it's hard to blame them given the landscape at that time. And, they did what they could with what they had, and sometimes, kind of like you alluded to, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't.
Yeah, AEW, I'll give them credit too. They were able to weather the storm.
Yeah.
I felt like, there were times I felt like their television was much more compelling than what WWE was doing during that period. I really liked that Stadium Stampede match that they did in front of no fans that year too. They did a lot of things that kind of, and to think about it, we're coming up on, next year is going to be 5 years since that. you think about it, Jesus Christ, how much shit's happened in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Just in general, but just not just with life, but just like the world out and as itself. Where it's starting to become like a distant memory of like what life was before COVID and lockdowns and other things that kind of took place and have kind of changed the way that we operate as people. Innovation as well, where literally we can get any restaurant quality food within minutes delivered to our house. It's just like, what? How did this happen?
I don't want to say minutes, but I get what you mean.
Yes. Yeah, it does take a while, but like at least.
But you don't have to do
It's-
anything. You go on
you
your
don't
phone,
have to
you order
do
it, and that's
anything.
it. Yeah.
And they just deliver it to your door and you just pick it up and that's it. Like it does make it so much easier. Cause yeah. Oh God, Brady's doing Tostitos commercials now. Good Lord, he's cashing in.
Because I'm not booked.
He's not booked.
He's not booked. He's not balling out. He's got to be doing something. He's got to be doing something. Which, you know what? I mean, I'm surprised he hasn't made a WWE appearance yet. Like it was funny. It was funny seeing him at Fanatics with the Hulk Hogan entrance with the Cupping of the Air. I'm just like, you're not doing it right. He never did it when he was coming out to the ramp. He did it in the ring. And he would cup the air, do his pose, then he would do it on each side. Like, God, you got to talk to a professional about this, Tom. Like, of course, he's just fucking around. He's just like, I'm not going to, like, he's not going to talk to me about continuity.
Like you want to record me for WWE? Sure. It's gonna come out here and do the F I want.
They gave Derek Jeter a championship belt. I saw they gave Kevin Durant one too.
Yes.
I was like, that was kind of cool seeing Jeter just like holding a championship belt that had the logo on it.
Can I tell you something real quick about those belts?
What?
Not those ones, but like the team specific ones where they have it for like a lot of different sports.
Yeah.
I want an old school Patriot, one of those. Like Pat Patriot, not like the the head. I want the full old school Pat Patriot logo, and then I might buy one. I just think the old logo is the better one.
I agree. The old logo to me is just such charm. I loved it. I think it was the 2009 season. It was the 50th anniversary of the AFL.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was when they played against the Jets that week, and they were in the red with the white helmets and the logo, it was so cool. And I miss those days because it's just, even though the teams mostly stunk except 85.
Well,
but
I mean, listen, like the Bruins do it too, where they bring out, the bear face instead of having the bait. And dude, like I like it when they do that.
Oh, like that Bruins jersey I bought with the Ray Borg jersey I bought recently.
Yeah. Like I like the old school logo once in a while. Like the Bruin one, I don't care as much, but old school Pat Patriot, man, that's where it's at.
I'm actually a proponent also for the Red Sox with it's the jacket where it's like just the socks on the chest level.
Yeah.
And it's just, I forget which one. That jacket to me is the quintessential Red Sox jacket. But then it's just like, well, we'll just put Red Sox on the front of No,
give me the socks.
No, just give me the socks. You
Not
don't
the bloody
have
ones,
them.
but the regular ones.
Yeah,
Give me
exactly.
those Red Sox.
I can't believe that's going to be 20 years next month. All of that. Like, just whole the bloody
what I
sock.
saw the other day, actually, which is related to the conversation, but in a different way of sports. But I saw this thing that, can you believe, like this is what it said. Can you believe that in approximately 4 months, we'll be able to say that happened 25 years ago, about the year 2000?
Yeah.
And I literally looked at it and just go, man, shut the fuck up. I just, if you are born in the year 2000, you're already able to drink. Like that alone just annoys me too. It's like, no, I got fucking old. No.
Why am I old?
Not
Damn
supposed
it, why
to be
am I
this
old?
I wasn't supposed to live this long. God damn it. Anyway.
We all thought that was the thing in our 20s. We all just thought like 40s is so long away. I might not even make it to 35, and then you hit 35, you're just like, oh fuck. Yeah.
Just take me now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Macho Man, come rapture me.
oh god, I remember that.
Yeah.
That fucking day. I'm just
Oh
sitting there.
God, that was
I'm sitting there
hilarious.
all day and I'm just like, fuck's it coming?
God
When's it
can't
coming?
wait. God could not wait. He had to rapture the Macho Man early.
That was harsh.
It was harsh.
It was harsh. That was because you say, yeah, it's just really
You know,
because
you know what it is? It's like he wasn't a young guy, I'll say that, right? Like you
No.
hear some of these stories about wrestlers that passed away early. He wasn't a young guy. You know, he was a little bit older. And I'm not saying like he was super old, obviously. I'm saying he was older than, you know, I was at the time at least, obviously. And him especially, that one hit hard. I don't know what it is.
that one did. Yeah, that one was a tough one.
I think it's the manner in which he passed. I think that was maybe why, because like you just look at some of the guys, you just want to see them pass peacefully, especially with all that's gone on in the industry, and then to get taken out like that, it's like, oh man,
that was tough. You think about Elizabeth too. That one was the
Yeah.
real first one. I'm just like, oh god, really? Like that was depressing.
it was depressing.
And then that also added to, I don't blame him now, but at the time, I firmly believed Luger was somehow involved in that. I think as time has gone on, and
I've loosened up, but I still blame him a little.
he
Little
deserves like
Little bit.
20% of the blame. I
I'm
wouldn't
not,
say
I'm
all
not
of
going to
it.
assign percentages of blame here. I'm just going to say that he does have some.
He has a part of it, yes. He's not 100% innocent.
No.
He's also not 100% guilty.
Also, no.
So that's kind of the way I look at his involvement in that. He has turned his life around, which good on him. I'm not gonna. Never thought I'd own Lex Luger action figures too in my life, because it's just like when he did that shit to me when I was 10. I'm just like, never gonna like this guy. He just comes off to me. It's just like he just slid the thing across the table, like didn't even look up. I'm supposed to. This is the guy. He's supposed to be the next Hulk Hogan. I'm supposed to like this guy, and I'm just like, I was already mad that the Undertaker was not getting a shot. I'm just like, they're gonna put this fucking guy in there, but they're not gonna give Taker a shot. Taker at least is popular. I don't know any. I don't know anybody in school that in 1993, 1994 that wanted Lex Luger to be the world champion. I can't think of one fucking person in my life that I've ever come across that wanted Lex Luger to be champion, because we either wanted Brett or we wanted Taker.
But,
We
but
didn't
he
want
slammed
Luger.
Yokozuna.
It was a hip block.
I know.
But he slammed him.
That was always the thing, and it's like I don't care. Like, okay, are we just now looking for muscle-bound freaks to slam big dudes? Because we already did that. I don't need this like muscled-up dude who looks like he's on the steroids pretty hard to slam Yokozuna. Like, I don't care.
like I'm not invested. I never was into Luger either. I remember liking him, but I never wanted him to be champion either. No.
I firmly believe Vince did not make him champion because he knew a federal indictment was around the corner.
Wow.
So he did not want to, which it did. It came within like
Yeah.
90 days of that show.
Yeah.
He probably thought perception would have been harder had he had him as champion because of what he was going to be. Yeah, because what he was going to get hit for. So I firmly believe, looking back on that, because looking at the timing of everything, that he did not win the championship at SummerSlam 93 because Vince sensed a indictment was just around the corner. And he didn't want the perception that their company was still that way. So, he stuck it out with Yoko, which Brett never should have lost the title. Brett probably should have not lost the title until 12. Brett should have been champion between WrestleMania 9 and WrestleMania 12, in my honest opinion. No one should have taken the title off him until Shawn in 96. Brett probably right now is listening to this.
Who I really am.
Of course, like I'm trying to see when the date for the Vince McMahon trial is coming, and then my computer decides to play audio from YouTube or Netflix. Excuse me.
I just heard him in the
Netflix.
background. I'm just like, oh no, is he hacking in?
He's talking about us.
Oh, no.
We need to check. I think it's next week though. The Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix.
I think that will not be a.
Trying to think.
Thinking
I
about-
think it's next week.
Yeah, it might be a watch. I don't know. I'm thinking. Yeah, I think it is next week.
I'm gonna catch it probably the first episode because I want to see at least how they're gonna do it, and then after that, we'll see if I'm gonna watch the other 5 episodes after that. I don't know.
I don't even care if it's a hatchet job because everything that's come out, it's just like, no, fuck it, bury him. Just fucking bury him. Fuck it.
Yeah, and I, it's funny you say that because I saw Mick say the exact opposite on social media, or it was reported on social media that Mick Foley was just like, "Oh yeah, well we're not gonna really, stop asking, it's not gonna ruin our memories or whatever." And I'm just like, "Are you sure, Mick? Are you really, really sure about that?"
The depravity that I knew that man was capable of is not even a fraction of what I found out that he actually did. Like it's just, you knew it. We all knew it. We all knew it was going on. We all had a sense. We all knew it. It's like this guy is like this backstage, is probably like this backstage, and he was. He's the realest dude in the history of the industry. He lived his fucking gimmick, and he was
putting it wildly.
Matt. He's literally lived like Mr. Burns.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
It's
That's a great analogy and reference.
It's just he's Mr. Burns. That's what he is. He's a real life Mr. Burns. Laryngitis of Smithers.
Happy birthday, Mr. McMahon. Goodness. So I pulled it up on Wikipedia as we were talking, as I was trying to look for the date. It is next week. It does start. Looks like, I believe it's a Wednesday. If I'm doing my math here correctly, it's either a Wednesday or a Thursday. Looks like Wednesday. And so I'm just going to go through the wiki of it, and I don't know how accurate this is, but it looks pretty accurate. So I think we all knew that it was directed by Chris Smith. It is starring Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Steve Austin, John Cena, Bret Hart, Triple H, and Eric Bischoff, and includes crafting from 200 hours of interviews with McMahon himself prior to his resignation, his family members, business associates, and some of the most iconic names in wrestling history, as well as the journalists who uncovered certain things. Let's say it that
Dave.
way. Yeah,
Dave.
probably. Doesn't say his name, but I'm willing to bet he will be a part
Dave
of this.
is going to be in it. I know Dave will be in it.
It might. I don't know. It might be zero.
I hope it
Shut
is
up,
zero
Dave, you're gonna
time.
be in it.
Nope, I hope it is 0 times that you're in the show, Mr. Meltzer, because I don't want to hear you. Especially about this, because I'm
He's
sure
a good
you knew about it
resource for
too.
this. To be honest, he'll be a
I
good
agree.
resource for
I
this.
I don't want them to constantly go back to him. Is the thing, and I
Yeah,
have a feeling that they might do that.
We can't. I can't
you
let my bias for him as far as a reporter now, and as far as because yes, I can't stand him now as a reporter, but as far as a history resource, as far as his detail to history and events that have happened,
Yeah,
he's second to none. There's
Yeah.
no one in this industry more. Well, that's not true. I think that Cornette probably has a better understanding and history of the industry than he does.
Oh shit! I
But-
mean, he lived it. The one thing I would say though is about who I just read off, and thinking of a couple other people, obviously, which I'll name in a second. I would love to know Eric Bischoff unfiltered about Vince McMahon would actually say. I would love that. And to that effect, his name isn't here, but I would be shocked if he's not included in this as well. Is Paul Heyman? I'd love to hear some of the shit that Heyman would say about Vince.
Well,
I can imagine.
I mean, Paul and Vince have had this really long, strange relationship.
Yeah.
Because Paul Heyman could go back to the senior,
Oh yeah.
and then you had what happened with it. It was always surprising that he never got the shot to go there in '93, or Vince never poached him in '94 and '95 to be his creative guy, because of what had went on with internally in the company. He needed kind of something but Vince thought in '95 and '94 that he could just be like Disneyland and just make it like Disney on Ice, and that's why he just
Vince's
everybody
toys.
was occupation. Everybody was like, yeah, it was the toy box back then, where Paul's booking and Paul's mindset really didn't hit, I think, a mainstream wrestling audience until the NWO really kind of took place, where it just became more urban, more on the fly, more longer, long-term storytelling, where Paul really did that, though, kind of before everybody else, because you look at with the Raven and Sandman, the Raven and Sandman feud. You look at the Raven and Tommy Dreamer feud, which went on for 2.5 years, where the babyface didn't beat him one time. And you think that he would have got poached when WWE may have been at its worst. And yeah, but it did not. It did not take. It did not take place that Vince went out and got Paul Heyman in like '94, '95. But then you would have perished the thought would have happened with ECW. Would they have been able to explode on the national scene, which they did in '96, '97, where what would have occurred or been able to occur for ECW, what would have been their future had Paul gotten poached in '94, '95? These are all the questions that I've always kind of had kicking around in my head. Like, why didn't Paul Heyman go run WWE creatively in '94 or '95? They needed him probably at that point more than ever.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get ahead of the curve, because
Well, I don't want to say ahead of the curve. The one thing I would say is like they had nothing compelling at that time, anyways. Like look at '95. Like industry looks like shit. Period. Maybe if he's already in place in '93, '94, then maybe '95 has a resurgence instead of a downturn.
maybe he would have done the idea of Brett is world champion for 3 years and he loses to Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
That would I firmly believe And I would have absolutely bought Bret Hart as world champion for more than 3 years in between 1992 and 1996. I would have not complained at all.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't have either. I mean, listen. I first of all, I don't know who else they really had, especially that early part. Yeah, you had some guys, but it wasn't a lot. And then, you go into, like I said, 94, going into 95, you're on that downturn before you hit 96 and 97. So, I mean, who's to say that, like you said, a guy brought in like Paul is able to sell that and then fucking prints money probably. I know that Cody wasn't going to, or supposed to win this year, and it was supposed to be The Rock and all this other shit. But like I said the last time I talked about that, look how it worked out. You held him back for the year, and yeah, that was on Roman Reigns, but Roman didn't say he wouldn't lose to Cody. He just said not that year.
Right.
And then it built Cody up, and then you tell a compelling long-term story because of that. And again, yeah, I know he wasn't supposed to be in the main event this year, but then injuries happened. They listened to the fans, and it delivered. It delivered that long-term story. But you're right. If Paul's there in 94, 95, maybe even earlier, 93, maybe he does do that. Maybe he does put the strap on Bret for 2-3 years and have somebody chase him like a Shawn Michaels and have that win be that much more impactful like it was for Cody. You could build the stories around those things.
Bret was always a good soldier. And I wish he he was too good. I wish he was kind of pushed back more. It was just like, no, I'm not doing it. Because you came out of a Hogan era where Hogan pretty much, I'm sure, just said, no. I always thought Vince was somebody that you couldn't say no, was somebody like, let me phrase this correctly, nicely, in a way that will not get me canceled. I always thought Vince was someone that you would, if he came to you with a creative idea, that you wouldn't say no because he had that intimidation about him. I mean, the way that he kind of balked with Hogan and let Hogan kind of book his own stuff. He did it with Austin. He did it with other talents at certain points. But then you had guys like Bret that would lose the championship to these guys like, you want me to lose to fucking Bob Backlund? What is this? 1982? Like, what is this? And then having to lose to Yoko only for Yoko immediately to lose to fucking Hulk Hogan. And then for Hogan to be like, I'm not going to finish you, Bret. It's like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah,
Like,
dude. If I was Bret, I sandbagged that whole thing. But I mean, to your point, to your credit, like Bret should have fought back once in a while. I know that Vince has extended that to his top guys in the past. You just mentioned them, like your Austins, like your Rocks, like your Hogans. Probably even Triple H to a certain degree. A lot of guys had the ability or the say enough to be like, I'm not fucking doing that. And listen, I've heard a lot of stories where even some of the female talent is like, I'm not fucking doing it. And, the fact that they have the ability to do so is important, whether male or female talent. But to your point about Bret, it's it almost like he was like, okay, yep, I'll do whatever the hell you want, Mr. McMahon. I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll do that. Yep, I'll lose to Bob Backlund. Like, why?
why, Bret?
Why do that to yourself and your career to a certain extent, especially at that time? You still had a lengthy career ahead of him at that point. And it's just like, Bret, you don't have to do that. like, come on, man. Just say no. It's okay. It's okay. Just saying that.
The only time he had ever an acceptable loss, in my opinion, that turned out well for him. Well, there's two of them. And that was when he was Intercontinental champion.
Yeah.
When he lost to the Mountie, because that set up a matchup with Piper,
Yep.
which became excellent, and Piper put him over clean. And then losing to Davey Boy, because
Yeah, that
that
was
told him
stupid.
to be WWE. No, it wasn't stupid. Because he was champion within 6 weeks.
I know.
I mean, it kind of worked out.
It did. I thought it was stupid at the time, though.
You're going to have 80,000 people in Wembley see Bret Hart beat their hometown boy.
I mean, again, I know. I just, blah.
I agree. I wasn't really a Bulldog guy either. I get
Yeah,
it.
that's
Like, it's
that's the biggest
just-
reason why. I'm just like, oh my god, why?
No, I get it.
Like,
I get it. I get it completely. But even I'm looking at it, I'm just like, of course he's going to win. And he won.
yeah, no, I know.
But, he
Maybe if SummerSlam is at Wembley this year, maybe Drew McIntyre will finally win in the UK.
Oh. Tony is convinced. Apparently, that's been reported. Tony's convinced they're going to be running a show at Wembley next year.
What, AEW?
No, WWE.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, if
He is convinced they're running Wembley next year.
I wouldn't be surprised. Why else not have AEW at Wembley again?
They have not announced SummerSlam or where it's going to be next year yet.
Yep.
We know where it's going to be in 2026. We do not know where it's going to be in 2025. And it's going to be over
Can
2
you
days.
imagine if, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Can you imagine if next year, now that it's going to be 2 nights, that they run Wembley and sell it out 2 nights in a row? Oh, my God. That would be so hilarious for me. I would just laugh hysterically. Wembley, 2 nights, and both are sellouts. Let's go!
Tony just sitting there, just like, no, but Wembley,
And that Triple H will pack that place too. He will absolutely pack that place to break whatever record Tony set. Whether it be the 40 to 80,000 that's been reported for both of these shows, man. I hope Triple H puts 100,000 seats in that place and sells out both nights just so I
who's
can
gonna be
laugh.
You know who's going to be in the main event night 1? Like Mussolini! Night 2, Cody Rhodes. Two of the biggest
You know
guys
what?
you
You know
walked out.
You know what they have to do now? They have to do a weekend like they do with WrestleMania. And they have to have an NXT show so you can bring out all Ego and get the page to main event that
yes.
too.
It's a trifecta. At Royal Albert Hall, it'll be NXT.
Oh,
Just run
man.
Royal Albert Hall for NXT. Then they'll have Wembley for both days. Ethan Page will be like headline. Oh my God. Or at that point, it'll be Ricky Starks. Who knows?
Hey, it could be Lexus King.
You're right.
Could be.
It could be. There's so many. The interesting part that I've noticed.
Oh, can't forget
is-
Jade. You can't forget Jade. She's not going
Can't
to be an
forget
event,
Jade.
but she's going to be
No,
there.
it is apparently Kevin Owens' contract is coming up, and there is a real possibility he'll be switching over brands to AEW.
I've heard that, and I don't think so.
It's a lot of money to turn down. But
I mean,
it's-
listen, his hetero life mate's not going to go anywhere, though. Sami Zayn's not going anywhere.
he might too, though.
I think
It
if one
depends.
goes, then they'll both go, but I don't know Sami's contract status either, so it's hard for me to say. But if Sami stays, I think KO might stay.
Plus, these guys are going to get paid a lot more money than what they were before.
That is true.
Their downsides are a lot better. They're going now from 300 dates 2 years ago to 250 dates this year. to next year, they're going to be around 200 dates. It's no longer the old guard of you've got 3 tours, 3 separate cities, 3 different shows. Those days are over. You're dealing with a television and media rights company that it's not about the live gate anymore. It's part of it. Yeah, you want to have live sold out buildings with a sold out hard cam. You want to be able to have all that stuff and make it all look nice, have a great presentation, but your money is your media rights. This is why WWE the last few years has been such a profitable business, because of their lucrative media rights deals. Now, also, the fact that they are selling merchandise like hotcakes. Fanatics Fest, WWE was the only entity that had consistent sellouts for their talent. No one else sold out, and there were some heavy hitters at that show. We're talking Carmelo Anthony, we're talking Kevin Durant, Tom Brady, Derek Jeter. Some of the biggest stars in the world of sports are there autographing stuff, meet and greets, things of that nature. They're not selling out compared to WWE talent that sold out consistently, including CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Hulk Hogan, a few others. So it's a completely different entity now. And it's no longer, we're going to wear these guys down. You're going to be on the road 320 days a year. It's more or less, I can't work TV. Okay. Can I have some time off? Okay. It's a much better place. You're getting more of a guarantee now. You're not relying on bonuses. You're not relying on quarterly earnings. Kevin Nash said when he worked for WWE the first time in 93, 94, 95, 96, you didn't know how good of a year you were going to have until you got your Mania check. Those days are over. The days of guaranteed money, well taken care of talent, they're technically still independent contractors, but their rights are a lot better. They're able to have health care taken care of for injuries that happen in the ring, a full doctor staff, training.
I'm just gonna bottom line this real quick because I'm just thinking about it too. What we kind of talked about in the last show coming up in December is Main Event. The fact that this company and the former owner of this company had such a strained relationship with Jesse the Body Ventura, to now have him come back and announce Saturday Main Event in December, I think it's just so huge and so telling of the direction the company has kind of gone into. I just think I can't understate that enough. Like from the things that you're saying, especially made me think of that one, because it's like you look at where the industry was during that high independent contractor phase, which, yeah, like you said, they're still contractors, but Jesse tried to unionize them and everything, and that fell flat. But they are such better place now versus back then. It's so different. With the medical, like you said, some of the stuff in the contracts, like you said, the merch percentage sales that they're getting, all that stuff. It's I don't think Steve Austin can be under his ranch for the rest of his life and probably not need to work it at all. He's still making money off those merch sales. And a lot of guys are, like Hogan, like you said. And it's crazy. It's just freaking crazy.
Hogan's got his own merch and the NWO merch. He's still getting shit.
Exactly. It's insane.
He's set for life, and it's just he hasn't had to really have anything creative wise of just the last 30 years, because it's just I'll just live off my NWO checks. Yeah, sure, why not?
I'm sure he's living off freaking reruns of Hogan Knows Best wherever the hell they are too.
Well, too, he's got that Gawker money. In that lawsuit.
Forgot about that one
So
too.
he's doing all right.
He's probably gonna sue that
Um,
movie whenever the hell it comes out too.
Brother dude. He you know how annoying it is, the fact that the week before his appearance at the RNC, the t-shirt that he was wearing,
I know.
I had purchased from his website the week before. And now it's like I can't even wear it without feeling ashamed.
Just give it a year.
Because
Just give it a year.
I know.
Next
but
year
it's
it'll
like
be fine.
Steph is just like embarrassed by it. I'm just like,
People will forget in a year.
but the logo is iconic, honey.
It
It's
is.
just like, I'm like, honey, that's when he ended the Iraq War.
Yeah, dude, I remember pulling that picture from one of the shows and just being like, "Yep, that's the one.
Yes,
Yep, that's it right
it's
there."
like it's one of the things that got me into this industry was that poster. My first WrestleMania was WrestleMania 7, which was from. So it's like all this stuff. I'm just like, it's all the connections to when I first got into this crazy industry as a fan. And
and then
but-
in one night, Hulk ruined it.
yes,
Damn it!
I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, I can't wear this now. God damn it.
And like I said, man, give it a year, but it is super frustrating, anyways. Regardless of that,
That's the hard part. It's just like, I don't want to wear it. I have no political meaning towards this. I just want to wear it.
Yep.
I don't care. Not sitting here and I'm just like, it's like I'm gonna wear it in a public restaurant either, just because I want to goddamn spit in my food. People thinking that because politically, I swear, I don't care.
Oh shit!
I just want to wear the shirt. I don't care. I love everybody. Well, not everybody, but I'm just saying that, like, like I'm a decent human being. Just, God, I can't even wear like that's the problem. And it was the same. It was the same conversation. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm thinking of like the shirts that I bought recently, like the LA Knight shirt, and I'm just like, oh man, please don't end up being like a douchebag. like I'm not worried about him becoming a douchebag, but it's like that's what I think of now. Like anytime I look at like a wrestling shirt, especially the ones that I have, like that one and a couple other ones that I used to have back in the day, I'm just like, man, please don't turn into a douche. Please don't do that. I like the shirt. I like your shirt for the merch. And I used to like you. Don't turn into a douchebag. Please.
It's kind of how I feel about like Kane, because
God,
there was
no.
so many people that loved Kane, and I was just like, but why? And then all of a sudden, he just became like this goddamn fruitcake, right wing nutbag, and it made it easy for people to just be like, oh, I see what you meant. It's like, yeah, that's what I meant. Fucking guy. It's just I've never appreciated. I understood why people liked him. I always thought he was a Hydrox Undertaker. And then when
OG Kane for the first 6 months, and then everything else can fuck off.
okay, no, that's fair. No, even up until it's like as soon as he lost the Inferno match, it's like here we go again, eventually the Inferno match. Taker's sitting there and he's just like, well, they mentioned it again. Wow, they must really like that match. No, I just like the spot where you jumped over fire. But it's just like ever since that, it's just like, I don't care.
I hate to say it that way, but it's so true because then he's on hiatus and he comes back with freaking X-Pac. Like,
What does he do with his career after it? Like, what was so great of his career after that 6 months?
Didn't he become world champion again after that? Wasn't he like a 2 or 3 time world champion?
Yeah, he did. He did meet Austin in that first blood match where technically it was Taker that helped
Yeah,
That didn't make any sense.
I know.
Like, it's just
Yeah,
like, you guys
that
almost killed each other.
Yeah.
Now you're helping him beat Steve Austin? What the fuck is
How
going
about
on
we
here?
both pin him now? Like,
Oh my God. Oh, you just triggered me.
I know.
Oh God.
Because I hated it.
Fucking
I thought it was
finish.
so stupid. Yeah, I'm like, oh, now we're gonna vacate the championship. Fucking great.
You knew it was coming. You're just like,
You
oh, they're gonna
did,
set up some
too.
shit fucking
Yeah.
tournament.
Yep. That was the vibe I immediately got. I'm like, oh great, here we fucking go.
Even though the Deadly Games tournament was actually really fun.
It was, but it's just the way it was set up was so fucking stupid.
It really was. It's just like, oh, they're both pitting him. It's like, no, why? Don't count the 3. It's like a double choke slam. Of course, they're no. And all Vince, give me the belt. Give me the belt. Ah, give me the belt. Ah. Fucking asshole.
Ugh. I have such fond memories back then, but that was not a fun memory.
No. It's like, it's just another moment where we look back on, we're just like, well, that sucked. Another finish to something like his, yeah, Steve Austin's the hottest star. And like, well, yeah, we'll have him lose to what?
Yeah, you know what? It's so funny that I think of that now, and I'm looking at Cody Rhodes' reign so far, and I'm just like, shit, man. How are they going to get the belt off this guy at this point? Like, how does that happen? And the same thing for Gunther to a certain degree, too. Like, I don't know, recently he just turns down Sami Zayn every week. Like, okay, you're not really engaging me with anything he's doing. Like, now what? Who is he going to fight then? Probably fucking Sami Zayn.
It's going to be Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's this, which you wonder if this is like Sammy's kind of like last hurrah, but then, you know, you feel like he's going to be a part of that bloodline storyline coming. You feel like that's going to circle back again.
Yeah.
Which also was probably a deciding factor if he's going to re-sign with the company or not. You know, it's tough.
I think he absolutely should go back to it. I think, listen, like, if you want to OG Bloodline and versus this new one, and you only want to do a 4-person War Games, or 4-on-4-person War Games, I should say, then I think that works. And you got, 4 guys in the new Bloodline, 4 guys in the old Bloodline. If you include Sammy, I think that works.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
And then Roman gets to be, what Damian Priest was before he lost the belt, the sitcom dad of these freaking idiots to the Usos and Sammy.
That whole time, it's like Damian Priest is just like, oh, God. Why? I'm supposed to be world champion and during my reign. And said, no, I got to deal with Dominic and Liv Morgan.
And fucking
Dominic,
Carlito.
stop talking to her!
And Carlito, too.
Oh, Carlito.
That's cool.
That's cool. In the new video, he is now DLC and now playable in WWE 2K24 and has the weapon of the apple.
Nice.
He actually takes a bite out of it and spits it at you.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And then also he can throw the apple at you because it's one of those objects you can just throw it at him.
Yep.
So it's
that's fantastic.
Because they've had every DLC, they have had a release of weapons. And they did it last time with the Pat McAfee pack with a football.
Of course.
Then they did one with the ECW one, I think, where they added a light bulb and a barbed wire bat. Which I'm like, wait a minute, they got a light bulb in this game? Like, are they going CCW here? What the fuck?
Is it like the long tube ones?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thinking like light bulb, like what the fuck?
Except you could just hit them with it. It's not like you can break it and then just take a piece of it and stab someone.
I mean, for the best, I would say.
Yes, I agree. It's like, yeah, let's not do that. I do miss the interactions, though, with weapons that we kind of had back in the day in the PS2 era, where it was more than kind of like a couple of moves. Like, of course, Van Daminator is still in the game. But Taker's old, when he used to take the chair, take it to the guy's throat, then just jam it on the floor. That was an option. Can't do that anymore. There was also one with the hitting of the chair where it was kind of like, it's almost like a baseball swing. And
Like the
guy-
the Rock Ken Shamrock one, probably at that point.
yes, and the guy would just fly back like 3 feet. Like, and it's just visually looked amazing. This is kind of like Shut Your Mouth and Here Comes the Pain era.
Yeah.
So we're talking, oh my God, those games are over 20 years old. Bro.
Yeah. Yeah. So you just said PS2 era. I was like, fuck.
Well, because the PlayStation, the very first PlayStation was released in December of 1994. So it is coming up on 30
shit.
years
No, it is.
in
Yeah.
December, which they have already announced that they are releasing. They are releasing 30th anniversary editions of the PS5, including that controversial new Pro.
Just give me the
This new
fucking
Pro
plate.
release.
Just give me the plate. I'm not gonna change in my fucking PS5 for that shit. Just give me the plates. I don't need a 30th edition though. I'll add the 30th edition plates to my existing PS5. Like,
I'll just get the skins. I'll just buy them online.
yeah, I could do that too.
I don't need this shit. Like, that's the way you're kind of going to look at it. Just like, I'll just get my own skins. I don't need your bullshit. I can just go somewhere that'll make skins. I don't need this. Why do I need to buy the emblem? I still have my Xbox, which, I really don't have a lot of time to play it. But at the same time, I still want to get a PS5 for some dumb reason. I don't know why. Like,
Exclusives, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll say it this way, right? And this is the gamer in me, I guess. You want exclusives. Holy shit, I can talk. If you want exclusives, go with the PS5. Because all you really need to do for the Xbox games, and I know I'm saying this matter of factly, and I apologize to those that are maybe struggling, but if you want to play Xbox games, just get a PC. Get Game Pass on the PC, and you're good to go. But if you want like a PlayStation exclusive, you have to get a PlayStation. It's the same if people want to get like the Nintendo games. You got to buy a Nintendo system, right? It's very much the same with PlayStation. So that's why, like me personally, I spent the money on gaming equipment, like PCs, I mean, but I also have a PS5 for those exclusives. And some of them, like you have to buy a console to play it first day because some of the PC releases aren't immediate. So, you're kind of checking off a couple different boxes going about it that way. But I mean,
It
also
hasn't been
depends what
confirmed
you
yet
play.
if GTA 6 is also going to be on the PC.
I've seen the rumors that it is, but who knows if that's a day one thing or not.
Yeah, immediate release.
If it's true, yeah. And that's the biggest thing. Like, I know people that are like, oh, well, the PlayStation ones are they end up on PC eventually. It's just like, yeah, eventually, but when is that? Sometimes it's months, if not a year plus later. It just depends. But the one thing I'll say is for the gamers out there, it depends what you play too. Like I wanted to play the most recent NHL 2K game, and you can't play it on PC.
No.
So maybe you do need a system. It just depends what you want to play on. And for those social butterflies, unlike us, kind of sometimes depends what your friends are playing on too.
Yes. If you're not playing offline
Yeah.
modes like myself and yourself, where it's just like, yeah, I'm in my own sandbox. It's fine. I don't
Yep.
need anybody else here. We were. It's not like we didn't share our toys. We just prefer to be able to have a toy box with anything we want and create it in any way we want.
I also just don't want to pay for the fucking services anymore, honestly.
That's true.
What was Xbox Pass back on the original Xbox? Like $50 a year?
Something like that.
I don't
Yeah.
want to fucking pay that. What's PSN now? I don't want to fucking pay that. Like I'll jump in a group with randoms, or I'll buy a specific game that has its own servers. But otherwise, I'm not gonna like jump through hoops to play with people. I'm not gonna do that.
No.
You know, like I know there's one game out there I still have not played. I'm sorry. Is Baldur's Gate 3, and I hear they have their own servers, and it's like all you need is a code. You can play with anybody. It's like, fuck. First of all, if that's true, I don't know. But second of all, if it is, holy fucking shit, I'd rather just go about it that way instead of paying, PlayStation Plus or whatever Nintendo Direct has or whatever the hell it's called. I don't even know. Nintendo Store, whatever, and then Game Pass. If you just get it on PC, it's like $10.
Right.
Like, I'll pay for that. That's fucking cheap. Like, that's not a problem for me. And then you get access to a lot of those games that are first party for Microsoft day one too. It's like, shit. Why not? You're saying I could play Halo, the new one, for $10 for 1 month and then cancel it? Fuck yeah. Like, makes fucking sense.
It's amazing to me that we are on the because we mentioned it earlier about GTA 5, about how we've been playing that game for more than 10 years. And no one is sick of it. Everybody's still playing. It still has a massive online presence. Still has a massive YouTube following. People love it.
Oh, yeah.
You think about now what the next game is going to bring and the experiences we're going to be able to deal with. It's almost just like, because I still remember seeing that trailer for GTA 5 and just being like, take my money now. Just, you got it. It's all yours. And then having to buy the game more than once on upgraded editions, as we've gotten in, because you're still finding new shit.
Yeah.
Stuff that you never, like, you play the game so many times, you're still, and the ending where everybody lives at the end is the preferred ending.
Of course.
I know there's a choice, but that ending is the quintessential one, in my opinion. It would be cool if they somehow were able to use those three characters, whatever decision you made in 5, to be able to make that decision in 6. Kind of how you start. I think that would be a really inventive kind of way to do it.
Yeah.
Because those are guys that I'd want to see again and work with again.
I mean, listen, they not Rockstar, obviously, but they kind of did that with Mafia games. Mafia 1 and Mafia 3. I think to a certain extent, 2, but not nearly as much. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the call-outs to the other games and series because I think that's important, especially when it's a shared universe like GTA is, Red Dead is to a certain point as well. And, those are the kind of things that I enjoy as well. So it would be cool to have something with them. And honestly, I don't care about the save incorporation, which I think is what you're kind of going off of. Where like depending on the save game you had on the system and blah blah blah, where it will affect your choices and who you see in the game. Nah, man, just put all 3 of them in.
That's fair.
In. Fuck 'em.
Yeah, might as well. Because it's just, especially Trevor in the Everglades, for Christ's sake. You're going to goddamn
That
South
would be
Beach, Miami.
fucking fantastic. Yeah,
You're not going to have Trevor Phillips in the Everglades dealing with alligators. Come on.
that would be fantastic.
It really would.
I better
I mean-
see some fucking alligators like go into stores and shit in this game, or I'm gonna be pissed off. I'm just gonna say.
Well,
that,
yeah. It's just all of a sudden you're in a convenience store and there's 3 alligators in there. You're like, what the fuck is going on? That's also going to be a pain in the ass because there's going to be so many missions we're going to get fucked up on because we get eaten by a gator.
It's funny. Earlier, I was talking about like my time off and shit, and now I'm just thinking, yeah, I do need to save some time because I'm gonna need to take at least a fucking week for this game when it comes out. I'm gonna have to.
I got to figure out when the Disney trip lines up and find out if it's like, because I'd probably be better off going the week that game comes out because no one will be there.
Yeah,
Probably right.
It will
Probably
literally
right.
be a desert because I'll be like, she'll be like, why is there one here? GTA 6 came out. No one is going to be available for 6 months. Like
Yeah.
that's what I feel. It's just
Yeah.
like everybody for 6 months is just going to be like, nope, don't care.
I mean, shit, man. You know, you mentioned it earlier. I mentioned it earlier. 5 is still has a community, whether it's people just tooling around online or on solo mode or with mods, just messing around, driving through the game to get radio clips off the radio stations in the cars. Like, just there's so much to that game that I feel like if that game comes out and there's a lull in other games, I'm probably just going to immerse myself in that. I probably will. Because they're already so immersive as it is anyways. It's like, holy crap. And looking at it from perspective of like story in some cases, whether it be that or like some of the other games that I used to play, like Fallout, for example, just you could drop it for a while, play another game, and just come right back to it. And I remember San Andreas and Vice City especially having those RC copter missions and just being like, I need to stop playing this and I'll just come back to it. Because I hated those fucking missions in
Oh
both
my
those
god!
games. Fuck that RC copter, man.
Every fucking time.
I hated that mission so hard.
That copter level where you had to go destroy the tower with the construction guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I remember me and you were playing that for like a month, just trying to figure that out. You're just like, fucking piece of shit.
Yep. I think I went through at least 3 controllers because I got chucked across the room.
Ugh.
Just, I loved that game to death. I despised that fucking mission though. That literally made me stop playing that game for well over a month before I had to go back to it.
And then I was San Andreas and had the RC planes.
Yep.
Which another one was just like,
Yeah.
oh,
I'm like,
you.
I just did this in fucking Vice City. I don't need another mission in this game. It's the same fucking shit.
Then there was the mission, but I figured out you could do it quick.
You could, yeah. I remember,
No.
like, once I did it. It was fine.
There was that mall one when you had to go break the windows in a certain amount of time in Vice City, or was something you had to destroy like all these shops, or you had to take money in like a certain amount of time. And the mall, of course, was huge, so you had to go from and you had like a 90-second time limit. But I found out if you take a dirt bike in, because a dirt bike you can take into buildings.
Yeah.
You just use a dirt bike and you're fine. You make everything in lick and split.
I didn't even need to do that. I just fucking did the cheat code for the RPG launcher. I just did it that way.
That works too.
Yeah. You destroy everything. I'm just gonna go pick up the money.
Oh god. That Grand Theft Auto Vice City was also the first one because I remember Grand Theft Auto 3. If you used codes, it didn't hurt like your ranking. You know, like because as you did shit, you got higher rankings, all that stuff. God, I remember hitting some ridiculous kill numbers and that type of stuff in 3. Like the checklist is just like, oh my god, like this is.
It was easy if you had the armor code too. Because TA3, they still had the armor that you could lay on. It was another like 100 health or 100, damage resistance number or whatever you want to call it. And
except when the military came with that AR-15 and you were dead in 3 seconds.
Yeah, then the armor didn't fucking matter. Yeah,
didn't matter. You're dead. Fuck.
Yep.
You had a tank though. Yeah, that tank literally could get hit by everything.
As long as you kept it moving, yeah, you were fine. If you got trapped, it was just a pain in the ass. And then that was the time where the cars would explode and then just get the fucking husk surrounding your tank. And it's like, well, shit. I can't do anything now.
I remember what was it? I remember in the police station, there was like an upper part where literally you could just sniper these guys and they're just all coming and you're just killing cops and military people all coming at you. And then if you had the tank, it was so much easier because you just drove off, and any time that they were in you, the car just exploded.
Yep.
Except when they got another tank, then you were fucked.
Yeah.
'Cause you're like, shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just like you block yourself out because all the cars are surrounding you. Then they got another tank coming in. It's just like, oh, okay, well, I'm fucked now.
3 also had the gore code, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
I always loved shooting people's legs out and then just seeing them hop and then die.
Yep.
But also missing heads was hilarious because you just see their arms flailing. They're just like,
Yeah, the blood spurted up and then the arms waving around. Yep.
yep. And then you use an RPG or like a grenade or something. All you'd see is a torso. You'd be like, what the fuck?
Or like a hand or arm or whatever.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, the
Yeah.
leg is over here. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. That was, the head would disappear. They didn't have the heads around because I think that was probably, they're like, oh, you can take limbs off, but you can't have heads come off.
Yeah,
Come on.
exactly. Yep.
Mortal Kombat does it.
I mean, that is true. I don't know why they couldn't.
God.
Probably because there's only so much they could get away with at that point.
2, I still say Mortal Kombat 2 is the ultimate, like the best Mortal Kombat game ever. It's very hard.
Man, what do I want to say here? I liked 3 a lot, but I felt like if 2 had 3's graphics update, it would have been that much better. To the point of what you were saying, though, 2 is also my favorite. It really is. That's the one I like grew up on more than 1. I grew up
1
on
was
2.
good.
It was good,
But
yeah.
2
absolutely.
was
2
so fucking good.
Yep.
And then, but the last couple have been really good too. As far as like next gen, they've kind of figured it out.
I still have not played 1.
Me neither.
The newest. I don't know what it is, man. I used to get Mortal Kombat religiously, absolutely fucking religiously, and like 4, I think was the last one I was like super religious about, and then I think Deadly Alliance I picked up later. And what was the other one? Armageddon, I think I picked up
Yes.
later because I was like, oh, like I know you have all the characters, but oh.
And
then-
nobody had everybody had the same finisher.
Yeah, it just was so cookie cutter. Like I get it, like you have all the characters, but like not compelling me on anything. This.
Was that also the one that had the Mortal Kombat like racing game? It was their own version of
I don't remember if it was that one.
Mario Kart.
I don't
It
remember.
might have been.
It might have. But then when they rebooted it, I was like, super religious on it. All right, the first one came out, got it. Second one came out, got it. And then this one, I'm just like, yeah, but the arc is kind of done, and I'm sick of paying you extra money every fucking year I get this game for like the DLCs and shit. That was the biggest gripe I had. It's just like, I know people want to play it day one and stuff, but Mortal Kombat for me became one of those games where it's like, I'm just gonna wait because
I'll wait for the complete collection.
Exactly. I'll
Yeah.
get the complete edition. You get all the characters in there. All the patches are done. You're not making any more changes, really. I'm good to go with that.
Exactly. Like I've always been somebody that's like that too. Of just, I'll wait a couple of years. Like, oh, but your friends are playing it now.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't care. I'll wait till everybody's out. I'll wait till it's like $20 and it's complete.
Yeah.
And then that's when I'll buy it.
Oh, but you can't play online anymore. Yeah, I don't really care that much.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I don't care. Like, if somebody comes over my house, we can play. Other than that, I don't give a fuck.
Only time I get annoyed with the server shuts off is wrestling games and sports games. By that point, I've already moved on to the next year.
Yeah, but it depends, right? Like, Mortal Kombat's not a yearly release anymore. anyways,
No.
Right? And, you can make the argument for some games out there as well that I can't think of off the top of my head that either are yearly or are not yearly anymore. And like there's a number for both, right? But for me it's like I just don't care that much. Like this year's WrestleMania or WWE 2K, like I'm good. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to add next year that's really going to be like blowing me out of the water. I need to get it. This year was special. It's the 2K24. It's the 40th anniversary of WrestleMania. You're doing the showcase mode of all the WrestleManias, or at least, the biggest highlights from WrestleMania. How are you going to top that next year?
It's true.
I don't think you're going to. And unless you're going to introduce something that, like I said, is going to absolutely blow me out of the water, or maybe oversimplify.
They've signed
the
a lot of
controls.
legends recently that
Yeah, I guess.
a lot of people have been waiting to kind of get back in there. Like Victoria is going to be making her return to the games.
I mean, that's
Jesse Ventura probably.
maybe. But,
Ventura doing
also-
commentary would be great.
Yeah.
Like him being one of the commentators for the video game would be great.
Yeah.
He's really the last voice of that generation. Bobby's gone.
Yeah,
Gorilla's gone.
What about JR?
Vince
You don't
is-
count him?
Well, I'm talking
Really?
about like the golden era
Oh, okay.
because JR was more the attitude era.
It was before that too, but I
Little
can
bit.
see why you say that, where the major bulk
New
of his
gen.
work. Yeah, New Jack is fine.
I mean, his highlight up until probably 96 was that heel turn thing that got over like a wet fart in church. That was the night. I brought I brought Diesel and Razor Ramon back. It's not Diesel and Razor Ramon. Some cheap knockoffs.
Did you though?
Did you? Did you, JR?
Oh my.
You know what? I think it is hit that point.
Yeah, I hate
look
to
at the
end the
clock.
show on that negative point, but I think you're right.
No, I when I'm mentioning JR's heel turn with fake Diesel and Razor,
That's
I think that's a cue for us to be like, yeah, I think it's bad. You hit the old dusty trail.
Is that a pun on the earlier conversation as well?
Who ran?
Who ran?
You
I
know,
love him.
because
I love him.
Because I'm not
I love
booked.
him. He annoyed me. He annoyed me today, but at the same time, you know what? It is what it is. I get annoyed every day by people, so it's just like,
par for the course.
yeah, it's just like it's whatever. And it wasn't even that annoying a conversation. And it just was. I felt like he felt like he was getting attacked, and I'm like, I'm not attacking anybody. We're not attacking anybody. We're not attacking anybody. Like,
Speak for yourself.
yes,
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I wasn't trying to attack him either.
Well, I want to thank everybody for listening to PWW Talks here on YouTube under the Diamond Podcasting Productions banner and channel, for that matter. Please like and subscribe. And find us on Spotify under Pro Wrestling World Talks, and of course on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. So thank everybody for joining us tonight on another interesting journey down the roads of, well, we don't even know sometimes. Pretty much that was the way it was tonight. We didn't even have graphics. We just came in. We're just like, all right, well,
Fuck it, we'll
let's
do it
turn the
live.
mic on. Exactly. We were just Bill O'Reilly tonight. Fuck it, I'll write it. We'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks. On that note, thank everybody for listening. We'll see you all next time.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.